Yoshito, retreat. A girl's voice pierces the chaos. These monsters are totally out of your league. The blonde's sudden warning catches our guy completely off guard. Yuri shoves him behind her. It is too dangerous for someone at your level. The squad leaps into battle, leaving our main character standing there. Yeah, they all think he is totally useless dead weight. Lizardmen swarm from all sides. The girls cover him until the massive shield bearer takes a devastating hit and flies backward. Crash! He lands directly on a hidden trap. The floor crumbles beneath Yoshito, and his terrified screams fade into the darkness. But wait, midair, his whole vibe changes. Tossing aside the ragdoll act, he totally takes control and dive bombs into the abyss. A deadly welcoming committee waits below. Not just regular mobs. Elite lizard commanders slither from every shadow, completely trapping him. These are not the weaklings from the upper floors. These are the exact beasts, giving his supposed protectors absolute hell. The monsters drool over their easy snack. Big mistake. Yoshito casually rises to his feet, his hand gripping his blade. His goofy mask drops. Eyes narrowed with chilling intent, he smirks. You guys are really gonna regret dragging me down here. He bursts forward like lightning. Brace yourselves. The dark dungeon instantly becomes a slaughterhouse, and these poor lizard bros are literally losing their heads. Monster bodies hit the floor. Runaways are hunted down in a split second. He tears through the elite horde like wet paper. An entire army blocks his path, but his mind is on the upper floors. Those girls are totally helpless without their secret carry. Time to speedrun this. One final devastating swing. The very last lizardman cowers in pure terror as Yoshito calmly approaches. I will make this quick. Slash with the boss defeated, he spots a hidden door leading back to floor 4 and casually strolls through. He casually strolls back onto floor 4, looking tired but completely unbothered. Yuri spots him instantly. Yoshito, she screams. She sprints over, frantically checking him for any injuries. She is absolutely freaking out. She is just thrilled. Her helpless little sunbae survived. Mana approaches cautiously, narrowing her eyes. Did any monsters attack you down there? Yoshito pauses, flashing his best clueless smile. Nah, nothing happened. Meanwhile, bro literally just left a graveyard of elite commanders behind him. Gotta keep the secret overpowered identity hidden, Mana sighs, explaining that Noishi completely panicked, assuming Yoshito was already Monster Chow. He ditched us for the boss room. Yoshito just smirks. Typical. He warmly thanks both girls for actually caring about his life. Caught totally off guard. The girls exchange a flustered smile. Anyway, let us hurry. We need to catch up to that coward Noishi. But wait, a surviving lizardman leaps from the shadow's blade, raised high, aiming right for Yuri's back. Yoshito's eyes snap wide. He roars her name. Yuri spins around in sheer confusion as the deadly blade drops. Mana gasps, but Yoshito explodes forward. His sudden explosive speed literally shatters the solid stone floor beneath his feet. In a blur, he intercepts. He blocks the strike and violently launches the monster away with one casual smash. Absolute silence. Mana is utterly stunned. That speed was ridiculous. A trembling Yuri softly whispers her thanks. Yoshito just scratches his head, awkwardly embarrassed. Mana chuckles at his flushed face, but her eyes turn sharp. How on earth did you move that fast? Our boy just grins. Guess you finally noticed my hidden talents. Then his playful vibe vanishes into dead seriousness. From now on, no more dead weight. Floor 5 reached. The massive mid-boss door looms before them like a bad omen. Mana reminds them 10 grueling floors total. This is the exact halfway point. They claimed it first before Noishi's gang stole their glory. Without hesitating, Yoshito kicks the door open. Boom, crimson flames erupt as a guy gets launched across the room, slamming violently into the wall. Noishi's teammate is totally folded. The monstrous orc lord dominates the center. Noishi is still standing, acting cocky but clearly doomed. Stay back, loser, he yells at Yoshito. He ignites his famous Aegis skill, that unique gear he endlessly brags about, hyped up to block absolutely any attack. He recklessly charges the orc lord. Boom bam, he actually lands some heavy hits. For a split second, the cocky strategy seems flawless. Noishi flashes an arrogant grin. Watch and learn, weakling. Behold the gap between a true hero and a total chicken. The orc lord collapses. But wait, a brilliantly glowing treasure chest materializes behind the defeated boss. Noishi's eyes instantly bulge with absolute greed. An ultra-rare item. But Yoshito's stomach instantly drops. The ominous aura feels completely terrifyingly wrong. Noishi, do not open that trap. Too late. He tears it open. It is completely empty. Flash, a blinding explosion of light instantly swallows the entire room. When vision returns, they are teleported somewhere totally bizarre. The air feels incredibly heavy. A colossal, terrifying throne room. Noishi starts sweating heavily. He has only ever felt this soul-crushing pressure on the ultimate top floor. Ominous smoke blankets the floor. In the deep shadows, a gigantic hand shifts. Furious glowing eyes stare right back. The legendary Ogre Emperor rises, the true final boss of this entire magic tower. It lunges. One devastating punch absolutely obliterates the concrete. The brutal shockwave sends everyone flying. Noishi foolishly charges with his Aegis shield, but gets casually swatted away like a pathetic bug. Smash, his broken body craters the cold ground. The ultimate skill completely fails because he is too damaged. He is finished. Yoshido, his party, shrieks, sprinting forward. "Stay back," he roars. But they ignore the warning. The massive beast swats them away. Their weapons clatter uselessly. A deadly magic circle activates. They're trapped. Yuri trembles in absolute terror. "Is this the end?" she whimpers. The monstrous giant glares straight at her. She braces for death. Suddenly, a blinding flash, Yoshido steps up, blade drawn. He knows the grim odds. His pathetic stats can't defeat a boss monster head-on. But he possesses one absolute cheat code. He has the luxury of dying, the insane strategy, bleed it dry, death after death. He rushes in, smashing the monster's skull. His party stares in pure disbelief. A totally reckless solo raid. The beast retaliates, launching Yoshido through the air. "Is this my absolute limit?" he coughs. Another brutal smash. Mana screams. Our hero perishes. They freeze in horror until a glitchy system window flashes. The crazy inversion skill activates, his agility skyrockets. He resurrects with insane speed. His party babbles in utter confusion. They know infinite lives mean horrific stat penalties. So how is he still swinging, let alone evolving into a monster? Reviving once more, he scans his status screen. "Trash drops," he grumbles. He needs a very specific power spike. He practically begs for the fatal strike. Smashed again, he respawns and clenches his fists. The sheer power feels totally different. Jackpot. The agility multiplier finally drops. A golden system alert chimes. Tactical respawn point has been successfully unlocked. A 3-meter teleportation radius upon revival. A devilish smirk crosses his face. "Oh, this is broken." He targets the monster's fatal blind spot. Flash. He materializes perfectly. The clueless beast reacts too late. Yoshito violently plunges his blade deep. Mana watches utterly paralyzed. Was he always this fast? The onslaught continues, a relentless flurry of devastating combo attacks. A fleeting thought of his annoying old squad crosses his mind. Pain in the neck or not, he never wanted them dead. But surviving this dungeon is the only priority. The giant spins around. Finally, they are evenly matched. Yoshido charges his ultimate finishing strike. The lumbering boss is too slow. His godly speed overwhelms it. A flawless critical hit. The mighty emperor collapses with a deafening roar. Game over. He exhales deeply. Legendary loot and a glowing mana crystal materialize. Suddenly, Yuri tackles him in a tearful, desperate embrace. Sobbing, she praises his survival. Then Mana's expression turns completely solemn. Bowing deeply, she offers her absolute gratitude. "You literally saved our lives," she admits. "But your fighting style is absolute madness, watching you get slaughtered repeatedly. It was pure psychological torture." His fierce gaze softens. "Sorry for the traumatic show," he chuckles. His voice grows intensely resolute. "But no matter what, I will always claw my way back, even if getting crushed to paste hurts like pure hell." Suddenly, the system countdown echoes. Raid cleared, commencing forced extraction in 10 seconds. The dungeon crumbles. He glances at the unconscious, battered players scattered everywhere, etching this insane ordeal into his memory. The massive structure shatters into digital polygons, vanishing completely. Meanwhile, in a pristine corporate high-rise, Rito Fu glares at a surveillance monitor. The legendary Hermes dungeon lot is completely empty. 3 top-tier guilds are already investigating. The real question: how did a widely known trash player manage to solo clear an impossible raid? Before all this madness, our guy was just a miserable retail wage slave with zero prospects. Until the apocalypse hit, desperate for cash, he awakened as a player. A shady vendor scammed him with the infinite lives cheat. He liquidated his savings and took out massive loans for it. He sacrificed everything for that power, utterly clueless about the horrifying curse attached to it. The catch was absolutely diabolical. Every single death permanently deleted his core stats, minus 50 defense. On death 1, nearly got him permanently wiped. Then minus 70 more, kiss 250 HP goodbye. A supposedly broken skill that was literally crippling him. Sure, it technically kept him breathing, so it wasn't completely useless garbage. Honestly, with a normal combat class, he wouldn't be dying every 5 minutes anyway, until he found that legendary golden rune, hidden in an impossible execution trap. But hey, lives are cheap. He sacrificed himself countless times just to loot that ultimate treasure. Boom. The god tier inversion ability. Every devastating penalty instantly converted into massive buffs. The worst trash skill evolved into absolute supreme power. Death literally makes him invincible. A truly ridiculous, reality-breaking cheat. Yoshido stares blankly, still in shock. Gazing at his palms, the reality sets in. That terrifying dungeon didn't just collapse on its own. He clenches his trembling hands. A radiant aura bursts around him. He was the legendary pioneer who conquered the impossible. The colossal structure dissolves into dust, leaving our stunned protagonist admiring his absolute masterpiece. A cocky grin escapes his lips. He desperately swallows his overwhelming pride, trying to play it cool after pulling off a god-tier stunt. Whispers ripple through the gathering crowd. Did someone actually slay the Hermes Emperor? Wait, did a high ranker finally breach the 5th level? A bystander gasps. Maybe a suicide squad speedran the core. Walking away quietly, a smirk forms on his face. Yeah, you're looking at the guy who soloed it, the legendary Takemichi Yoshito. Though honestly, he feels slightly guilty. Dragging innocent players into his chaotic death loop was never the actual plan. Still clearing a tower on the first try, absolutely legendary stuff. But acting like a flashy protagonist is a rookie mistake. Bragging about crushing the mighty Hermes. Yeah, that is a one-way ticket to unwanted trouble. Time to activate stealth mode and slip away unnoticed. But before his great escape begins, familiar voices shatter his peace. Mana and Yuri ambush him. They are practically vibrating with hype, demanding the juicy details and the epic loot drops. The entire crowd locks eyes on him, skyrocketing his awkwardness. The whispers ignite again, pinning him right in the spotlight. A random voice suddenly mocks his so-called trash resurrection skill. Clueless crowd gasps, shocked he defeated Hermes with such garbage abilities. Escaping the suffocating fame, our hero desperately needs a drink. Weaving through the swarm of players, he finally sighs in relief. He tells the girls they successfully ditched the paparazzi. But the interrogation continues. They bombard him with questions about his combat tactics and weapon choices. Amidst the chaos, some random player even tries to recruit him into their guild. Mana sheepishly apologizes for ruining his stealth mission, while Yoshido chugs a soda. Yuri just smirks, claiming fame is the price for soloing Hermes. Honestly, hearing Yuri call him a total powerhouse strokes his ego a bit. His mind drifts back to the blood-pumping boss raid. He chuckles at ever doubting his own potential as a player, remembering the brutal cost of that infinite resurrection stone. Yeah, picking that broken skill was a massive brain move. Catching him in deep thought, Yuri seizes the chance to pry into his abilities. She interrogates him about death penalties and debuffs. Panic strikes Yoshido as he struggles to spin a believable lie. He stumbles over his words. How is he supposed to explain his ridiculous stat inversion secret? His deadly serious glare makes Yuri flinch. She nervously waves her hands, apologizing for crossing the line. He breathes a sigh. His overpowered cheat skill is way too dangerous to casually reveal to anyone. Mana casually deflects the awkward tension, saving the heavy lore drop for later. Still, her sharp eyes show deep suspicion. Instantly shifting gears, she demands to see the epic loot. What god-tier item did Hermes drop? Our main character aggressively dunks his empty can into the trash and smirks. Just wait. Eager to flex his rewards, Yoshido swipes the air. But wait, the system interface refuses to open. Mana facepalms. She reminds the absolute noob that status screens only function inside the active tower boundaries, which just vanished. Using her best kindergarten teacher voice, she explains that system windows require an active dungeon zone to operate. Same goes for player skills. All that flashy magic is completely useless in the normal mundane world. That is why players cannot just spam fireballs downtown. However, there is one massive loophole to this rule. You can absolutely bypass the system restriction if you stand exactly where a cleared tower used to exist. Right on cue, a ridiculous surge of crackling magical energy surges through Yoshido's veins. He looks down. He is standing dead center in the ruins of the defeated Hermes Tower. Staring at the empty lot, he shivers. The lingering aura of a dead dungeon always gives off a creepy, electric vibe. Smirking confidently, Yoshido summons the glowing blue interface. The system chimes, unveiling his boss drop, the legendary blade Falsaminos. Ruling over the epic stats, he instantly taps the glowing icon to claim his divine loot. Boom! A blinding flash of golden light erupts from the screen, flashbanging the entire group. Adrenaline spikes through his blood. The sheer crushing aura of Falsaminos solidifies right into his waiting grasp. Yoshido hoists the weapon like an absolute boss. Shining in a devastating crimson glow, this mythical blade screams overpowered protagonist. The girls gasp in pure awe. Gripping the hilt, Yoshido slashes the air, absolutely mesmerized by its flawless balance and terrifying speed. His gamer brain is already calculating his next raid. The girls just watch him geek out over the weapon. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off in Mana's head. She grabs his shoulder and demands they officially form a guild party. Yuri practically explodes with joy, jumping up and down to claim her spot in the squad. Watching Yuri throw a hilarious temper tantrum for an invite, Yoshito and Mana just sweat drop like she is an oversized toddler. Pouting dramatically, she begs for an invitation. Yoshido just laughs at the ridiculous scene and happily accepts her into the team. Because what are gamer friends for? The girls high-five in total victory, leaving Yoshido slightly confused by their intense hype. Mana invades his personal space eyes, shining with battle lust. She points forward, demanding their next target be just as legendary as Hermes. Flashing a wicked grin, she drops a totally insane suggestion. Target an even bigger magic tower. Then he casually suggests fighting Zeus. Yoshido ponders this absolute madness while the girls listen closely. Leaving Hermes behind, there is one place he desperately needs to visit. Eyes sparkling, Yuri asks where. Shockingly, he proudly declares the Tokyo Challenger Agency. The girls instantly deflate with sheer disappointment. Mana demands to know why skip the towers. Yoshito explains the agency pays massive stacks of cash for magic stones, way better than those cheap tower stalls ever could. His grand master plan: dump all his epic loot there for cold hard cash. He shamefully admits buying Infinite Revival left him completely broke. Mana and Yuri just stare at him with pathetic pity. The mighty government agency headquarters for adventurers is a colossal skyscraper, looming over the entire city. Inside the control room, glowing panels track every single tower and weapon. Here, legendary loot actually sells for a decent price. Tower stalls are basically just glorified scammers. Trading at the official agency is a million times safer. Because the market sits right beside headquarters, challengers can totally flex their powers without any annoying restrictions. His epic rewards for clearing Hermes Ultra, rare weapons, and a ridiculous mountain of magic stones. Yoshido gazes around, already smelling the incoming wealth. A polite clerk welcomes him, asking if he wants to cash in his precious loot. Opening his system panel, he taps the stone's icon, clueless about his actual inventory, since he never bothered to check. Boom, a literal mountain of blinding gemstones erupts onto the counter, leaving the poor clerk absolutely paralyzed. As a hilarious final touch, one tiny gemstone bonks her right on the head. Even Yoshido is utterly speechless. Snapping out of it, the clerk processes the massive trade. With trembling hands, Yoshito realizes his tragic broke boy era is finally over. Strutting away with a ridiculously fat payout, he suddenly feels like an absolute billionaire. Yoshito strolls up to his party, daydreaming about his new wealth. Yuri glares, warning him not to blow it all like an absolute idiot. Mana releases her terrifying aura, threatening him against going back into debt. Sweating nervously, our newly rich hero quickly nods in total agreement. Suddenly, while wandering the halls, a mysterious woman blocks his path. Yoshido freezes, totally caught off guard by this intense encounter. Dripping with mystery, she casually mentions tracking him down the second she heard he was roaming the building. A heavy silence drops between them. Our clueless protagonist cannot fathom why this high-level presence wants anything to do with him. She introduces herself as Rita Fun, the big boss of the agency. Stepping into his personal space, she demands a moment with the famous Hermes Conqueror. Dropping his full name, she proves she has done her homework on him. Yoshito squints, realizing her gorgeous face looks suspiciously familiar, and it hits him. She is the absolute strongest executive managing the challengers. Rumor says the agency desperately recruited her after she solo cleared 3 entire magic towers like an absolute monster. She is basically a celebrity superstar, flashing her face on agency billboards and ads broadcast across the entire city. Rita pierces him with an intense gaze, waiting. Sweating under pressure, he finally asks what the agency president could possibly want. Raising her hands gracefully, she declares her first demand. She wants the exclusive scoop on exactly how he crushed the Hermes magic tower. Yoshito listens closely, his inner alarms ringing. Then she drops the bomb. She wants to personally test the raw power of the newest conqueror. The unusual 4-person party marches down the agency corridors. As Yoshito casually spills the tower secrets, Mana points out they really should warn the other challengers about those nasty, deadly traps. Rita sincerely thanks him for the precious intel. As for poor Nogishi and his wiped-out party, the agency will solemnly deliver the tragic news to their families. Her fierce eyes soften with sudden sorrow. She bitterly admits that challengers dying in the towers is tragically common, an undeniable reality of their brutal profession. Yet she confesses the loss still stings every single time. Yoshito lets out a heavy, empathetic sigh. He bites his lip, hard haunted by the brutal flashbacks of all the tragedies he just witnessed. He realizes everyone just numbly accepts this grim fate to survive. Suddenly, tears prick his eyes as he breaks down, admitting that yes, this endless cycle of death truly hurts. Matching her slow pace, a gentle relief washes over him, realizing it is actually okay to feel that human sorrow. At last, the heavy doors open. The boss welcomes them to the state-of-the-art agency training grounds. The trio watches her tap the control panel. Flash A training sword magically materializes right into Yoshido's hands. Examining the sad-looking blade, our hero questions if this dull stick even counts as a sword. Rita smirks, explaining it is the standard issue beginner weapon for training. She playfully assures him he can swing it without chopping off his own limbs. Slamming her own blade against the floor, Rita issues her bold challenge. She promises to show him the terrifying gap between a rookie and a true dominator. her favorite chief responsibility. Flashing a confident grin, Yoshito accepts the duel. Mana hypes them up from the sidelines, screaming for the boss to show them a truly epic beatdown. Yoshito shifts into a combat stance. If a clash is inevitable, he refuses to hold back a single ounce of power. Ready Rudy challenges. Yoshito's absolute silence is his only answer, his piercing gaze locking onto hers. He is facing an absolute monster. The legendary agency chief herself. Still, having recently crushed a raid boss, his confidence surges. He is way more dangerous than she imagines. Begin. The word barely leaves her lips before her figure blurs, vanishing instantly at the speed of light. Boom, she materializes inches from his face, her lethal strike already in motion. Startled, Yoshito frantically evades his teeth, grinding in frustration. But Rudy is a natural disaster, raining down lightning-fast strikes. Smothered by a terrifying storm of omnidirectional attacks, he desperately blocks to survive. Forcing an opening, he unleashes his full might, but her reflexes are truly godlike. Cold sweat drips down his spine as her aura spikes. She launches overhead, forcing a frantic duck to avoid sudden death. He strains his eyes to track her blazing speed, but her sheer physical force triggers localized shockwaves. Sliding back, he gasps for air. This monster's combat prowess exists in a completely different dimension. As she stalks forward like a predator, he reflects on his brutal past victories earned through agonizing deaths. Yet he pales compared to this flawless tyrant, a conqueror of endless brutal towers. Then, a spark of pure realization hits him. The memories of his blood-soaked journey surface. He survived hell itself, respawning through pure spite. Why should he cower before natural talent when he wields absolute persistence? Shifting gears, he realizes a defensive stance means an inevitable painful defeat. Normal human would retreat from certain doom. But the Reaper holds no sway over him, his ultimate trump card. Rudy dashes forward. Unyielding Yoshito's eyes ignite with a demonic crimson glow, locking on with killing intent. Startled by his madness, Rudy hesitates. Yoshito, however, pushes straight into the danger, explodes into a blinding sword rush. However, she bends backward, fluidly evading like a phantom. Impossible. She retaliates with crushing momentum, her blade radiating a blinding solar aura. Yoshito's teeth clatter uncontrollably. I truly didn't anticipate that, Rudy confesses quietly. Swallowing his fear, he smirks. He bluntly states that a true monster would have parried his reckless counterattack flawlessly. Steel clashes against steel. Instantly, she retaliates, thrusting her weapon forward with earth-shattering force. Yoshito boldly presses his psychological attack. If you hadn't paused in fear, I'd be dead, he provokes. Rudy unleashes an elegant storm of deadly slashes. Barely dodging, Yoshito stubbornly continues his tactical breakdown. She completely misread his suicidal combat rhythm, expecting him to guard. That fatal hesitation was pure strategic confusion. You cannot comprehend how a madman fights, he taunts. Her instincts short-circuited against his total recklessness. His azure eyes pierce through her. He openly declares his absolute cheat code of unending resurrection. That alone elevates him above mere mortals. Gripping his hilt tightly, he prepares a devastating follow-up. Rudy absorbs his words, quietly parrying gracefully while apologizing for the power gap. Without my immortality hack, victory is impossible, Yoshito laughs. A flash of fierce annoyance crosses her gaze. Like a leaping tiger, she vaults backward, evading his slicing blade. Her mind races back to classified intel. The infinite revival rumor was true. This maniac weaponized his own death. Her calculating gaze locks onto his bizarre, wildly unpredictable offensive maneuvers. A boiling crimson aura explodes from the boy's frame. Rudy inwardly shudders at this genuinely horrifying power. A vicious graze slashes his cheek. My hesitation ends now, she warns coldly. Yeah, that genuinely stung, he yelps dramatically. Their intense stares collide, her emerald eyes burning with wrath. With fluid grace, she slips out of his striking range. Honestly, doesn't even compare to dying, Yoshito scoffs through gritted teeth. Unamused, Rudy levels her blade ready. Lowering her weapon with an impressed smirk, she gracefully concedes. She respects his madness, admitting defeat for today. But then comedy strikes. Yoshito violently belly flops onto the dirt like a dying fish. Rudy blinks in total confusion. Trembling violently, the battered boy coughs out pathetic groans. Screw the results, he wheezes pitifully. Someone call an ambulance. His eyes roll back instantly deadweight. Panic ensues as Yuri and Mana sprint over shrieking for their idiot friend. 2 seconds later, he bounces right back up, complaining about the Grim Reaper. You literally didn't die, Rudy deadpans. It's the principle, he whines. Deflated by his ruined dramatic moment, he sighs deeply. Whatever, can I just go home now? The boss completely shuts him down. They need to have a serious little chat. Our clueless protagonist just blinks. She smoothly explains his power levels are totally off the charts, so she has a super exclusive VIP mission just for him. His friend's jaws practically hit the floor. Mana is totally hyperventilating because a direct boss quest means the payout is going to be legendary. Rudy chimes in saying cold hard cash is totally on the table. The giant pile of money will definitely make him smile. Our boy hesitates for a second. He loves money, but he really needs to read the fine print first. The boss drops the lore. Just a few hours ago, a brand new magical tower suddenly popped into existence. Corporate security is currently camping the entrance, keeping the whole place totally locked down. Her crazy pitch, she wants our guy to waltz in there first and scoop up all the juicy intel. Welcome to the Tower of Epiphany. They started scouting, but honestly, he is the only cheat character who can handle this. The big boss officially hands Yoshito the Epiphany investigation quest, a suicide mission literally tailor-made for our immortal slacker. Yoshito scratches his head. Shouldn't the official guild pros handle this? Foon drops the bomb. They already sent in their absolute best, totally shocking our guy. 2 entire elite squads went in. That is 10 heavily armed pros and absolutely 0 of them came back. Yuri starts panicking. A total wipeout mana is sweating bullets, screaming that a 0% survival rate is completely impossible. The boss totally agreed with that logic. Sadly, every single scout was found lying dead right at the front door. Worse, they all looked like they were desperately sprinting for the exit but mysteriously dropped dead halfway there. Yoshito practically chokes on his spit. Wait a minute, isn't the lobby supposed to be the ultimate safe zone? Fion nods. It should be a totally safe area with absolutely 0 monster spawns. Plus there is a super creepy twist. None of the bodies have a single monster scratch. They honestly have 0 clue what unalived them. The boss sighs heavily. When that nightmare report dropped, she immediately called for a totally depressing body retrieval mission. The camera pans to the creepy tower interior as she admits they are completely clueless about what wrecked their best fighters. The only solid fact, nobody survived the tutorial lobby. Welcome to the terrifying reality of Epiphany Tower. Yoshito connects the dots. They picked him solely because of his ridiculous infinite respawn cheat skill. Fu starts sweating, promising she is not treating him like human trash. She just cannot afford to lose any more normal employees. The big boss nervously asks for his final answer. Yoshito stares right into her soul. With a dramatic, exhausted sigh, our totally reluctant hero accepts the insane gig. Fast forward to a brand new day, Yoshito struts right into the supposedly safe lobby of Epiphany Tower. He takes a completely chill breath and slaps his cheeks to focus. Time to play detective and figure out what wiped out the pros. But first, a quick flashback to Yuri crying her eyes out while Mana tried desperately to calm her down. Our boy casually draws his shiny sword. Time to get to work. The whole squad is betting everything on him. He's admiring his reflection in the steel when a super creepy rattling echoes from the dark end of the hallway. A literal army of bony skeletons bursts through the fog. They hit the gas and charge right at our bored hero. Our ridiculously overpowered protagonist literally deletes the entire mob with one lazy swing. This new blade handles like an absolute dream. He is totally hyped to slash more bones, but another weird sound instantly freezes his blood. He slowly looks up, hunting for the exact source of the spooky noise. Boom! A violent wind blast forces him into a defensive block. He hilariously swats at the smoke, but a terrifying red system warning suddenly flashes. He stares at the glaring pop-up. Bingo, the legendary mystery of what wiped out the previous elite squads is finally solved. The glaring red screen drops a massive bomb. The tower's death curse just triggered, giving him literally 5 minutes to live. He casually wonders what triggered this totally broken status effect. Standing perfectly chill in the toxic fog, Yoshito smirks. The guild totally made the right call. Any normal player would be completely losing their minds right now. The ultimate cheat code, escaping the tower, instantly cleanses all nasty status effects. Those poor previous guys must have desperately rage-sprinted for the door. Tragically, the timer hit 0, right as they reached the lobby. No wonder the corpses were totally flawless. They did not lose to monsters, they just got trolled by an invisible death timer. The deadly smoke aggressively fills the room, but our OP protagonist does not even flinch. He is practically yawning at the danger. He is completely unfazed. By taking the curse head-on, his crazy suicide mission is basically a wrap. Honestly, this tower really needs to stop underestimating his ridiculous cheat skills. 18 seconds until death. But wait, his inversion skill activates, flipping that deadly curse completely upside down. He smirks. This deadly debuff is basically a VIP spa treatment. Bursting with energy, he casually strolls straight into the ominous fog. His gaze sweeps the shadows. Is this a terrible idea? Probably. But hey, round 2 of that sweet curse is approaching. At this rate, climbing the tower is literally impossible for normal players. The purple haze thickens, and our hero squints through the deadly smog. Bingo, the curse's core. Suddenly, a massive gravitational pull erupts, vacuuming the very atmosphere into a singular, terrifying focal point. Takamichi just stares intensely intrigued. Boom! A shadowy monstrosity descends from the sky. Meet the furious gate guardian, and spoiler alert, it woke up choosing absolute violence. Weapons drawn. The beast roars, charging its ultimate attack. Toxic aura explodes around it. Our boy sweats bullets. As the monster's spiritual pressure skyrockets into the danger zone, absolute nightmare fuel. With one deafening screech, the truth hits him. This beast is the Dungeon Master. The dense curses reek of pure bloodlust. Suddenly, an army of undead skeletons ambushes him. Cowardly mob tactics. The boss spawns lackeys, completely boxing our swordsman into a deadly bone-rattling corner. He deflects a flurry of strikes, but bam, a critical hit lands. Exhausted and battered, real agony sets in. He collapses, completely wiped out. Another brutal game over. The giant beast chuckles, mocking his pathetic demise. Poof, resurrection. He sits right back up. What is so funny ugly? His health bar is completely full again. Talk about an ultimate cheat code. To him, this legendary curse is just a limitless free health potion. Flash of steel. One epic sword strike slices the mighty boss into absolute confetti. Wait, the dungeon atmosphere shifted. The oppressive cursed energy completely vanished into thin air. The terrifying death trap was just a massive area of effect status debuff. Ryfune is utterly mind-blown. She begs for a countermeasure. Smirking like a pro, he casually tosses her a shiny vial. The guildmaster inspects the glowing loot with absolute awe. Slaying the core boss instantly purified the cursed spring. Easy farming for premium divine drops. This holy water grants total curse immunity. Newbie players can finally survive. Plus, his scout logic confirmed every single floor hides its own cursed boss. The clearing strategy is simple. Grind floor by floor, slay the boss, farm the holy water, and repeat. She beams with corporate joy, praising his intel. The profit-making tower is officially back in business. Quest cleared. She gives him total VIP praise for a flawless run. Jackpot. She hands over a comically fat stack of cash. His jaw hits the floor, and she playfully asks if the mountain of gold is sufficient. Clutching the heavy briefcase like a lifeline, he stumbles down the street, completely short-circuiting over his sudden billionaire status. He is suffering from extreme new money panic. What does he even buy? A few peaceful days pass. Debts erased, infinite revive purchased, yet his wallet is still bursting, so he naturally wanders into a ridiculous high-end boutique. Draped in the gaudiest overpriced designer gear imaginable, he sighs dramatically at the peaceful sky. Main character aura achieved, until Mana's loud voice shatters his cool delusion. The girls gossip about farming the reopened tower, plotting to drag Yoshido along. He instantly sweats, recognizing his party members. Stealth mode activated. He pivots hard, trying to escape his embarrassing rich boy debut. They walk right past Few, but wait, Mana's sharp gamer instincts tingle. She glares at his back. Why does that flashy idiot look so familiar? She steps closer, squinting. Then her eyes widen in absolute unfiltered horror. Yoshito, she screeches. He winces. Did she really need to look at him like he was garbage? Defends his tragic financial choices. He was rich and confused. Sweet Yuri blushes, claiming he actually looks super handsome. Cringing hard, Mana forcefully derails the fashion critique. She demands he join their party for the newly opened dungeon. Why rush into a literal death zone? Mana's eyes turn into dollar signs. Rare stones mean big bucks, and every pro is already looting. Yuri chimes in. Top guilds have already rushed through 10 whole floors. Mana pouts furiously. It is totally unfair he got rich alone. Time to carry his broke friends. Totally love-struck Yuri blushes, saying she will brave hell itself if Yoshido is there. He scratches his head. With holy water, it is basically a safe grinding spot. Alright, team assembled. Next stop, Praphany. But first, he desperately needs a wardrobe change. Meanwhile, deep inside the dark tower, a terrified challenger crawls for his life. He clutches a nearly empty vial. His entire party completely wiped out. Now a creepy hooded Grim Reaper is crashing their dungeon run. This absolute bag of rattling bones glares with blazing fury. Welcome to the total nightmare that is the Magic Tower's 10th floor. The skeleton swings its rusty blade, but our hero's sword catches the strike with a massive echoing clang. Dripping with an insanely dark aura, he glares down the undead freak. The skeleton instantly knows it messed with the wrong gamer. Level 16, Takamichi hits it with the ultimate side-eye. His surviving party members literally applaud his ridiculous new power level. He casually flexes, claiming this level up is just basic math after farming that many trash mobs. Sure, the stats didn't actually budge, but looking like a total noob attracts unwanted aggro. Gotta bump those numbers up for street cred. His holy water buff is blinking red. No obvious debuffs in sight, but why risk a game over? He turns toward his panicked harem. He hesitates with the potion. Chugging this sketchy juice might just slap him with another ridiculous and annoying curse. Catching a glimpse of the chaos, he realizes he better explain his Uno reverse hack to the girls before they completely freak out. Before he can drop the lore dump, a massive boss monster violently crashes the party. He screams for Yuri and Mana to dodge. But this beast has maxed out agility, snatching Yuri like a total creep. Yuri shrieks his name as the priceless holy water shatters. The bony kidnapper drags her into the shadows, slapping a nasty mind control debuff on her. The overpowered freak crushes her with raw brute force. And just because the author hates them, thick, creepy fog floods the boss room. A floating system alert pops up in Yuri's face. Congratulations, you have been cursed with exactly 120 seconds until game over. What an absolutely toxic boss mechanic. With the holy water smashed, her only cure is literally down the drain. Mana completely loses her cool and charges in blindly. She winds up for an epic strike, but the monster instantly parries her attack like it is nothing. Yuri watches in total confusion as Mana gets absolutely yeeted across the room by a massive shockwave. Panicking, Yuri screams for Takamishi's help. He orders Mana to retreat immediately. It is time for the main character to actually do his job. His heavy blade crashes straight into the monster. He is ready to speedrun this execution. He pulls a terrifying, totally villainous smirk, but the ugly boss monster is also getting unbelievably salty. The deathmatch turns into pure chaos, but our hero is sweating bullets because his hit rate is literally at 0% right now. This mini-boss is ridiculously over-leveled. It aggressively closes the distance, leaving our baffled swordsman trying to figure out its broken attack pattern. Wait a minute, this giant coward is just turtling up and playing pure defense. Mana drops the panic reminder. Less than 90 seconds before Yuri's health hits zero, the helpless hostage screams like a literal horror movie extra. The glowing red-eyed creep is hovering right over her. Gross. It actually chuckles, randomly getting a massive unearned confidence boost. It is the infamous soul purger. Suddenly, Takamishi's brain finally connects all the gamer dots. This tricky rat is just stalling until the holy water buff expires. It is literally feeding off their psychological panic. Well, the purger picked the wrong guy to troll. Erupting with pure gamer rage, he dashes straight at the ugly beast. Nobody treats our boy like a low-level NPC. He launches himself into the air, going completely face-to-face with the nightmare. The monster flinches, totally caught off guard by the sheer audacity. But Takamishi holds his aggressive stance like an absolute boss. He goes for the finishing blow, but the boss cowardly dodges and runs away. Mana and Yoshito hit max sprint to chase the fleeing coward, but suddenly they hit the brakes. The boss is hiding behind Yuri and has summoned an absolute tidal wave of annoying skeleton mobs. The purger desperately commands its trash skeleton mobs to attack. Oh great, it was a totally classic mob trap. He asks if Mana is shaking in her boots, but she flashes a cocky smirk. As if she swings her weapon like an absolute blender, her surgically precise strikes turn the skeleton army into flying bone dust. The craziest part, she is casually smiling during the massacre. Takamishi glares through the chaos, asking if she has enough stamina for round 2. She nods, and the duo activates full-throttle murder mode. But plot twist, the pesky skeletons are now throwing highly annoying spears at our heroes. Even Mana sweats at that annoying projectile spam. The two pull off some desperate Matrix-level dodges to avoid becoming pincushions. Takamishi frantically checks her status and she flashes a quick thumbs up. But the clock is ticking, less than 60 seconds until Yuri gets permanently deleted. Forget saving Mana, our hero activates his ultimate burst skills. He needs to violently plow through this bone army right now. Boom, dozens of skeletons are instantly vaporized. His eyes burn with absolute unstoppable protagonist energy. Hold up, rare loot drop, the Dead's Rancor ring. Takamishi grins like a total troll, calling this garbage item the biggest joke of the game. Any sane gamer would instantly sell this cursed trash to a vendor. Takamishi loves exploiting broken mechanics. He brilliantly equips the cursed jewelry. It glows brightly, but his reverse passive turns the deadly curse into a godly full heal every 5 seconds, blocking attacks. Yeah, he threw that absolutely useless concept out the window. Smashing through the endless boneheads, our hero finally faced the big boss completely ready to completely wipe the floor with it. His blade gleamed with pure, chaotic energy. Time to unleash his ultimate trump card, the 7-strike fury, where every single hit just aggressively multiplied his insane damage output. But if a single strike gets blocked, the whole ridiculous combo collapses. Finding the perfect opening was ridiculously tough. The massive purifier started sweating bullets, but out of absolutely nowhere, an agonizing pain struck Takamishi right in the guts. A panicked Yuri screamed his name. But as he locked eyes with her, his muscles absurdly bulged, literally ripping his clothes to absolute shreds. He swung his heavy blade with monstrous force. Thanks to his broken system glitch, he essentially got a free full heal every single 5 seconds. The terrifying monster instantly realized it was completely screwed. An epic clash erupted. Moving like literal lightning, our overpowered boy dashed straight forward. The giant beast desperately tried keeping up frantically, throwing up shields just to survive. Bam! It looked like game over for Takamishi once more. But nope, that hilariously broken cursed ring forcefully triggered another wild status inversion. The chaotic brawl reached its peak. The crying boss knew its doom had arrived, as our crazy warrior fully charged his most devastating ultimate attack. Wearing a deadly smirk, he finally slammed down his winning card, triggering a blinding, ridiculously massive explosion that completely engulfed the entire dungeon. A catastrophic light blast erupted. The poor monster violently shrieked before shattering into pieces. A completely drained Shiramachi dramatically swooned. Just before she ate dirt, our smooth main character swooped in for a perfect bridal catch, making the startled girl instantly snap awake. Smiling warmly, Yoshido felt incredibly relieved. She was completely unharmed. As the flustered, tough girl stammered her thanks, Mana casually popped up. She loved their cute little moment but ruined it by mentioning that terrifying curse. Popping open her inventory, the blonde tossed her buddy a glowing healing potion, promising an instant recovery. Eyes totally wide, the blonde realized that Sneaky Boss literally waited for their holy water buffs to expire. Ding, blinking red alert spawned quickly, grabbing our boy's attention. Sweating nervously, he remembered his cursed loot and questioned its terrifying durability. This absolutely ridiculous ring literally inflicted a lethal death penalty every single 5 seconds. Spooking Yoshito completely, the crimson gem cracked, releasing a highly suspicious purple fog. Panicking internally, he desperately prayed this stupid thing wouldn't blow off his hand. Refusing to test his terrible luck, he frantically tugged at the cursed accessory, but it was magically superglued to his finger. An intensely blinding glow violently erupted from the cursed ruby, making our terrified hero immediately start sweating absolute buckets. Ding. A wild notification popped up. His macabre skill had hit maximum proficiency, forcibly evolving his creepy ring of corpses into the legendary putrid ring. The blonde confusedly asked what just happened. Clueless himself, the main character awkwardly admitted his new cursed loot was acting super glitchy. Since nothing blew up yet, he decided to just forcefully yank the creepy thing off. Pivoting toward his pretty teammates, Yoshido cluelessly asked for their next big dungeon strategy. Rubbing her chin, Mana declared Yuri was way too traumatized today. Grabbing the shiny magic loot drops and extracting was definitely their safest bet. Drowning in guilt, the raven-haired girl apologized, but her friend told her to relax. Fired up, Shiramachi passionately promised to aggressively farm those magical cores. Flash forward a few short minutes, and this absolute madwoman was actually speedrunning the loot collection. Fast forward a few hours, the tired duo was completely dead, while she hilariously kept wildly farming. Miraculously, their dungeon raid continued smoothly, without any more chaotic death scares. Thanks to an absolute army of crazy challengers, those upper floors were completely steamrolled. Boom. Just 1 short week later, huge news dropped that the boss room was finally discovered on the 30th floor. Scene changed to the bustling Tokyo Challenger Guild. Our boy was peacefully sipping his hot coffee alone when a super juicy conversation suddenly grabbed his ear. Some random hunter loudly gossiped about the terrifying new boss room, complaining that an unbreakable magical seal was violently rejecting every single player. Suddenly, someone sweet apologized for the wait. His 2 lovely teammates had finally arrived, literally buzzing with massive excitement. With sparkling eyes, she eagerly asked if they were raiding the boss today. Raising an eyebrow, our sharp protagonist asked if she actually found the secret unlock method. Flashing a smug grin, she bragged that an insider found a huge clue upstairs, leaving our shocked boy's jaw literally hitting the floor. Leaning in, whispering, the blonde hunter revealed a super cryptic system phrase, quote, "As proof of countless deaths, the ultimate proof of decay rises from the shadows." Totally baffled, the sweaty guy loudly asked what kind of edgy nonsense that even meant. Shrugging helplessly, the pink-eyed beauty confessed she was completely clueless too. Trying to spark hope, Yuri proudly announced she gathered some highly secret intel too. She dramatically revealed that tons of unlucky tower climbers randomly received that terrifying lethal ring. Gasping loudly, Mana frantically asked if Takamichi still had his cursed accessory equipped. As our brave protagonist scrolled his digital inventory, the smart brunette theorized the system restricted drops to just 1 single ring per player. That is exactly why top players heavily suspect the creepy item is the key. Nodding seriously, our boy confirmed that even after fiercely farming endless low-level trash mobs, he completely failed to drop another ring. Recalling that cryptic hint, the dark-haired beauty drops a massive truth bomb. Even with the ring equipped, that stubborn boss door absolutely refuses to budge. The gears finally click. Striking a cool pose, Yoshido marches off boldly, declaring their next stop is Fanony. Assuming his sketchy ring is the ultimate VIP magic key, the trio speedruns their way straight to the 30th floor of the tower. Meanwhile, our guy is internally screaming. What if his epic deduction is totally wrong? Looking like an absolute clown in front of the ladies is his ultimate nightmare. Breaking the silence, Yuri bluntly asks why our main character is so confident this weird ring will actually work. Going full detective mode, he explains the crazy mechanics. Once the ring's death penalty maxed out, it miraculously mutated into a completely new item. The brunette absolutely loses her mind. She screams, demanding to know how he purposely triggered a lethal death penalty. Sweating bullets, Yoshito smoothly deflects. He casually reminds them about his completely broken infinite resurrection cheat skill thanks to his handy status reversal. The real kicker, this newly evolved ring has absolutely zero stats. No buffs, no effects, nothing. And in video game logic, that is suspiciously specific. And boom, that is exactly where our golden clue comes into play. He cracked the code. The cryptic riddle basically ordered players to die repeatedly, tanking death penalties until the cursed ring completely rotted away. The girl's eyes absolutely sparkle with awe, trying to play it cool. Our hero claims it was just a lucky guess, but internally, he is dying of pure embarrassment for nerding out like a total tryhard. Now the moment of truth, clutching the mutated ring, he frantically prays to the system. Gods, he does not look like a massive clown. But wait, Mana decides to just gorilla smash the door first. After several minutes of hilariously useless pulling, she dramatically admits defeat against the indestructible architecture. Step aside muscles. It is brain time. Strutting up to the massive gates, Takamichi channels his inner anime protagonist, desperately trusting his own crazy theory. He dramatically commands the door to open, but absolutely crickets. A painfully awkward silence completely suffocates the room. Ready to dig his own grave from cringe, he questions his entire existence. Thankfully, his sweet companions suggest the dial-up connection might just be lagging. Ping. The ring's dull blue stone suddenly flares to life. Heavy gears grind as the massive boss doors magically slide open, saving our guy from eternal social ruin. But his victory lap gets cut short. He was way too obsessed with playing locksmith. He completely forgot the minor detail that a terrifying 30th floor boss is literally waiting inside to completely obliterate them. This monster is guaranteed to be insanely stronger than the Hermes Tower nightmare sweating buckets. Yoshito spins around, desperately yelling for a tactical retreat. Nope, denied. A massive, horrifying hand shoots out from the shadows, snatching our squishy hero. He gets violently yanked into the darkness while the girls scream in sheer panic. Launched like a discarded ragdoll, our guy somehow nails a sloppy superhero landing, barely avoiding a spine-shattering splat on the floor. Dripping in a terrified cold sweat, he screams at his teammates, begging them to stay the heck out of this death trap. Slam, the heavy doors violently shut. Suddenly, an ominous blood-red magic circle blazes to life. Scrambling up, Takamichi realizes the brutal truth. This boss room is a terrifying one-way ticket. A swirling vortex of eerie blue light violently erupts. Thick, choking fog floods the room, just as a completely monstrous, decaying foot stomps out of the portal. Emerging from the abyss, the gruesome boss towers over our hero. With a rotting corpse face and one glowing red eye, the nightmare violently smashes its staff, triggering a blinding shockwave, staring dead into our terrified challenger's very soul. The beast unleashes a deafening roar, summoning a ferocious hurricane with its blade. Guess who has to clean up his own mess? Yoshito braces himself. Towering above the Elderbone priest glares down, chanting ominously in a cursed forgotten language. In a flash, a blazing ring of cursed blue hellfire completely traps our hero, and the hits keep coming. Rattling skeletons literally crawl from the flames, forming a massive undead army ready to jump him. Doing the terrifying math, our guy knows he is screwed. If he does not blitz this boss immediately, this massive mob will completely bury him. Zero hesitation. Yoshito completely ignores the small fry and desperately charges straight at the elder priest. It is boss rushing time, baby. He swings for the fences, but plot twist his blade. Crashes into an invisible monster shield. Boom. A massive magical explosion violently blasts our hero straight backwards. Sweating bullets, the panicked protagonist realizes this bony boomer has an absolute perfect defense. Sneak attack. A cheeky little skeleton teleports right behind his blind spot weapon raised. Tunnel visioning, the boss completely screws him. Slash. The minion lands a brutal critical hit, making our guy violently cough up. Censorship-friendly strawberry juice. Facing an impossible combo attack, his brain absolutely short circuits. Ding. The system gleefully announces his embarrassing death. As punishment, a brutal -40 defense penalty slaps him right in the face. Trap card activated, his beautifully broken inversion cheat skill magically flips that curse into a glorious +40 buff. Popping back from the dead like a glitch, Takamichi ruthlessly swings. But this annoyingly swole skeleton actually blocks it, pushing back with pure brute force. Our hero is flabbergasted. These might just be brittle bones, but their attack weight and insane agility make the lower floor mobs look like an absolute joke. This difficulty spike is completely illegal. To make things worse, this isn't a brainless zombie horde. The terrifyingly smart skeletons coordinate a flawless group, jumping absolutely cornering our outmatched protagonist once again. The bone goons lock down his arms, total immobilization. The skull priest glides closer. Yep, Yoshido is officially cooked. Snap, the boss whips its head around, what caught its attention. Yuri and Mana to the rescue. The dark-haired warrior unleashes a massive hydra blast, slamming straight into the undead mob. She cheers their flawless victory, but her smile instantly shatters. Those wet bone bags are completely unfazed. Sakia desperately tries blocking their relentless advance. Completely cornered panic truly sets in. Roaring in defiance, our main character violently thrashes against his captors, desperate to save his party. Denied. The elder violently slams its staff, ruthlessly tearing off Takamichi's right arm. Talk about a brutal penalty. Agonizing shrieks echo out. The sadistic boss actually chuckles at his mind-numbing torment. The undead minions keep him pinned for their master's twisted torture session. Minus an arm and a leg, he hysterically begs for mercy, but monsters don't do pity. A massive fountain of red splatters everywhere until silence falls. He collapses into his own morbid puddle. Clinging to life, he hilariously mumbles about gaining staff trauma. Yoshito dies again while the boss does a victory dance, eyes snapping open. The horrific memories flood back, triggering an instant cold sweat of absolute dread. His brain forcefully unboxes the ultimate worst-case trauma reel. Even with his limbs restored, the phantom pain hits hard. He violently trembles behind his hands. He shrieks until his lungs literally give out, glaring at the system prompt. Reality hits him hard. Yuri and Mana are doomed without him. It is respawn time. He must crush that skeletal freak. Swallowing his panic, our hero realizes breaking down isn't an option. The game plan is locked, but his hands are basically jelly. Mustering courage, Takamichi smartly decides to tweak his respawn coordinates. System confirmed, he flawlessly spawns right behind the boss. The girls gasp in pure shock. Now it is time to grab some aggro, but catching those glowing red eyes triggers his PTSD. Facing the Bone Brigade, the violent trembling returns. Facepalming his own fear, he curses his pathetic frozen legs. Seeing his friends face certain death, raw fury overrides his fear. He locks eyes with the beast. Boom. A massive detonation shatters the sealed door, instantly jump-scaring our main character. Through the smoke steps, a great sword-wielding absolute unit. Striding forward, he casually drops that brute force works best, though finding a whole party inside is a funny twist. Scanning the chaotic room, the absolute Chad spots our hero completely sobbing in terror. With a casual neck scratch, he jokes about their terrible luck. Suddenly, Bone Goons dive-bomb Takamichi, sliced into dust. The newcomer effortlessly obliterates the threat cheerfully, offering a helping hand. Relax, kid. You stand before Kogura Okiyomi, the Dominator King. Nobody dies on his watch. That legendary title rings loud. Dominator Kings are monsters who clear 100-floor magic towers. Truly, the absolute top-tier elites of all Japan. Hurling his massive blade, the Chad delays, the chatter. It is time to roast this dungeon. An infernal tornado erupts, engulfing them. The skeleton army screeches hilariously as their bones catch blazing hellfire. Yoshito is absolutely awestruck. Another fiery blast leaves the skull priest severely panicking. The coward tries jumping away, but Kogura ruthlessly shuts down its mid-air escape route. Shield up. But the Dominator's devastating strike collides, creating a spectacular clash of auras. The pathetic priest takes catastrophic damage just before another firestorm triggers. Shielding his face from the intense wind, our boy watches the veteran remain hilariously unfazed. Sneak attack. The boss teleports behind him, only to get yeeted backward by a casual punch. Boss grounded. The absolute Gigachad turns around smoothly, offering our hero the final kill shot. Brain utterly lagging, Takamichi stares blankly. Kogura chuckles, admitting the kid looks like absolute hot garbage. Time to end this once and for all. If he backs down now, that cold sweat will haunt him forever. Gripping his blade, our main character nods his thanks. The boss panics, launching one final desperate strike, but our hero vanishes, slicing through the air with a massive smirk. The battle hunger is back. The Dominator smirks like a proud mentor. He asks if that epic strike finally shattered his lingering trauma. Glancing back, our hero confidently agrees. Clapping a heavy hand on his shoulder, Okiyomi grins. The Tower of Praphany has officially been conquered. Yoshido panics, waving his hands. Hold on a second, he only stole the final kill, so the glory isn't his. But the veteran just chuckles. The system does not care about methods. The final blow gets all the epic loot. Our boy insists on handing over the drops, but the older hunter flatly refuses. That gear is strictly for the rookie's power-up. Kagura beams, watching the kid celebrate with his party. Besides, the veteran's wallet is already overflowing. Plus, he already has his legendary weapon, so taking a newbie's loot is just pathetic. The trio blinks in utter shock. If the rookie really wants to repay him, he just wants to see the unique item drop. The curiosity is killing him. Sweating nervously, the protagonist eventually caves, though he instantly starts whining about his ultra-rare drop being a magic staff. He clicks his inventory and a blinding light engulfs the room. Jaws hit the floor. Yoshido just pulled the legendary Arcanum Aqua Happy. The veteran raises an eyebrow. A mage weapon. Can the kid even cast spells? Clutching the staff, our hero admits his magic stats are garbage, so he instantly gifts it to Yuri, their local mage. She freezes in disbelief. The hero tilts his head. What is wrong? But the mage rejects the legendary gear, claiming she hasn't earned it. Our boy is baffled. Shiramachi steps up, confessing her heart-to-heart with Yuri. They were practically useless in battle. Against this boss, and the last one, they were nothing but dead weight holding the main character back. Because of that, they feel like partying up was a massive mistake. Takamichi fiercely disagrees. Without Kagura bailing them out, everyone would have wiped. That honest confession makes Sakia smile. She brutally points out that they have officially become the dreaded escort mission, non-player characters. Sweating bullets, our boy frantically tries to backtrack. That is not what he meant. Too late. The blonde warrior declares this is exactly why they need a training arc. Blinking in confusion, our hero questions their sudden motivation. Yuri drops a bombshell. The girls are going to solo raid towers from now on. Anna excitedly promises that once their levels are maxed, they will definitely reform the ultimate party. Eyes burning with determination, the dark-haired girl tells him to keep the staff. Instead, he just throws it straight at her. If they are going on a solo grind, she desperately needs the stats. A true gamer uses every broken item they can get their hands on. Defeated by his gamer logic, Shiramachi finally accepts the epic loot. Ding, a system window pops up. The Praphany boss is dead, and the dungeon collapses in exactly 10 seconds. The hero promises to catch up with the girls on the outside. Kagura teases him for the mature farewell. Slumping to the floor, Yoshido admits he is actually crying on the inside. The veteran casually strolls over and drops the kid's real name, completely startling him. He chuckles, saying he overheard the girls. Since the kid's schedule just cleared up, the older hunter invites him to tag along. Spinning around, the hero wonders if this is a side quest. Stretching his massive muscles, he reveals a massive, very important person summons from the Tokyo department head. He usually sticks to the central zone. Getting dragged all the way out here means this mission is going to be a total nightmare. He only raided Praphany to kill some time before the meeting, and stumbled into our rookie by total accident. Walking side by side, Takamichi is totally baffled. Why is an elite interested in him without even seeing his broken infinite resurrection skill? It makes zero sense. Looking back, Okiyomi smirks. He heard rumors from Fuyune about a legendary supernova in the new generation. The hero practically chokes on his spit. Did the boss lady really say that about him? Nodding, the veteran laughs. Finding him inside the boss room was wild, considering he looked like a completely normal civilian. Blushing furiously, our boy admits he is just a regular guy since he got absolutely bodied by the priest. Shoving him forward with a grin, the Dominator gives the classic advice. In that case, just grind harder next time. He adds that they still have tons of time before the big meeting, so it is time for some relaxing retail therapy with Yoshido. His treat, obviously. Because this rookie desperately needs a masterclass in spending cash like an absolute boss. Our boy is practically vibrating with hype. Learning financial literacy from one of Japan's top-tier dominators. Count him in. Fast forward a few hours of intense shopping, and the duo drops their brand new drip. Standing before the department head, she deadpans, asking who these weirdos are. Furious, our hero screams at her to stop playing dumb. Blinking in confusion, she points out their utterly bizarre outfits. Glancing at our traumatized boy, the Dominator drops some wisdom. All the money and success in the world means absolute zero without killer fashion sense. Unfazed, the girl fires back. Even so, those outfits are a complete joke. Yoshido loses it. He roars that she probably knows nothing about fashion, lounging around in baggy sweats all day. The room goes dead silent. Then the woman slowly rises to her feet. Boom, she flashes a magazine photo. The caption proves the department chief's personal style ranks among the top 7 hottest trends. Instant regret, our boy drops to his knees begging for mercy while Kagura bursts out laughing, finally asking Fune why they were summoned. Her playful vibe vanishes. There is only one monumental reason for this meeting. The Tokyo Challenger Department is launching a massive full-scale operation. Intrigued, our hero leans in, asking for the juicy details. The chief drops the bomb. They are raiding Kanto's largest magic zone to completely conquer the legendary Tower of Zeus. Kagura smirks, saying he totally saw this epic raid coming. The death toll on the upper floors is skyrocketing. The department simply cannot turn a blind eye to this bloodbath anymore. To sweeten the deal, all remaining high-tier loot from Zeus will be split among every single participant from Vanguard to support. Plus, every brave volunteer will be strategically assigned based on their unique combat specs. Because this magic tower's danger level completely shatters the scale of any normal dungeon, Even with elite leadership, massive casualties are guaranteed. That is exactly why she needs the Dominator smashing the front lines to save lives. After all, he is the absolute legend who solo cleared the Great Tower of Hephaestus in the Central Zone. Bowing his head, Kagura vows to unleash his full power to protect everyone. Meanwhile, Yoshito realizes he is just a useless background extra. But wait, the Dominator suddenly drops a crazy condition. He wants to drag our rookie straight into the frontline meat grinder. Fune casually approves, leaving our poor protagonist paralyzed with absolute terror. Flashing a thumbs up, Kagura says he is counting on him. While Yoshito screams in absolute panic, we cut straight to the Tower of Proteus. Stretching his arms, Okiyomi smirks and asks our trembling hero if he is ready to level up. Flashback to a few moments ago. Since the Zeus raid prep was still dragging on, the chief told these two to go kill some time. Without missing a single beat, the Dominator demanded to know the best local magic tower for power grinding. Because before throwing Takamichi into the deadly vanguard, he plans to power level this rookie to the absolute limit. Our boy cries out for a veto but gets a massive nope. Desperate, he asks why the powerhouse even wants him there. Kagura simply smiles, declaring he wants to forge the kid into a beast. After all, no one else has his crazy potential. That vague pep talk 0% comforts our hero. Stepping in, Fune highly recommends the Tower of Proteus for their grinding montage. It might lack flashy gimmicks, but it is absolutely packed with high-tier monsters and a massive jackpot of magic stones. It is an adventurer's dream farming spot. Hearing this, the Dominator instantly locks in their next destination. Spinning on his heel, he casually adds that they might as well slaughter the dungeon boss while they are at it. Back in the present tower, a heavily armored monster locks eyes with Yoshito. Okiyomi steps back, wanting to test the rookie's solo survival skills. Gulping down his fear, our boy tightens his grip. He screams out a battle cry and charges headfirst into the danger. Whoosh! The monster's blade slices the air, grazing his cheek. Our boy desperately ducks, throwing a wild counter that sends the creature crashing down. But recovering instantly, the beast raises its giant sword again, flashing a sickening metallic smirk. Takamichi calls out the monster's sloppy swing. The enemy suddenly collapses to its knees, giving our sweating hero a massive wave of relief. But the celebration ends fast. Kagura screams a desperate warning to look out. Time freezes as our hero turns around. That sneaky monster actually hurled its massive broadsword, and it is flying right at his face. Okiyomi clenches, his fists dying to step in. But to truly forge a frontline partner, he absolutely must witness the kid's raw survival instincts. Realizing the incoming strike is completely fatal, the master whispers a heavy apology. Wham! Our boy is blasted backward, the giant blade violently piercing his chest. Eyes utterly dead and empty, the eerie soldier drags himself forward to reclaim his blade. Our main character revives, severing the monster's arm in a flash, loudly complaining that the last strike seriously stung. Now he is fully prepared to finish this deadly dance. Chilling on the sidelines, Okiyomi smirks, confirming his crazy theory. The kid is completely immortal, making him the absolute perfect unkillable partner for this ridiculous mission. Pinning the beast down, our hero smugly declares that without a weapon, the monster's winning streak is officially over. But plot twist. The armored creep magically summons another blade from thin air, delivering a brutal instant kill strike. Respawning once again, Yoshito complains this is the second time his heart got pierced. Charging back into the chaotic fray fearlessly, he screams that he is absolutely not letting that cheap shot slide. Steel violently sings against steel until our hero desperately retreats just to avoid becoming monster meat again. Deflecting every vicious slash in midair, his mind races with pure frustration. He simply cannot find an opening for a single fight-ending blow. Out of nowhere, a blinding light erupts, launching the poor kid flying backward with overwhelming bone-crushing force. Thanks to his insane reflexes, Takamichi totally sticks the landing. But as the dust settles, his jaw drops. A massive, fresh wave of enemies just spawned. Without warning, deadly blades whistle straight toward his skull, miraculously embedding themselves into the dirt right beside him. Creepy smiles stretch across the approaching monsters' faces. Surrounded by 4 heavily armed soldiers, our boy totally deadpans, saying this absolute nightmare has to be a twisted prank. He desperately blocks their strikes, but one massive enemy pushes harder, missing him by mere inches. Fighting purely to survive, Yoshito unleashes a furious counterattack, forcing the creepy mob backward. Sweating bullets, he desperately multitasks to avoid dying for the 100th time. His inner monologue confirms one hilarious truth. This situation is an absolute dumpster fire. If this chaotic rhythm continues, he will totally taste dirt again. Suddenly, Kagura steps out of the shadows, casually announcing that his spectating phase is officially over. Unleashing one devastating slash, the powerhouse Dominator launches the creepy soldiers backward, smashing them brutally into solid stone. Glancing at our struggling hero, the man praises his crazy resilience. But now it is time to witness some real, overwhelming, top-tier destruction. Zero hesitation, the Dominator sparks his legendary skill, entirely engulfing the cursed enemies in a blazing, magnificent inferno. Safely away, our boy simply stands there, his jaw completely hitting the floor in pure shock. Sheathing his weapon, Okiyomi playfully complains to his new buddy. He totally wanted to flex his flashy moves longer, but the weak monsters literally evaporated in one measly hit. Trembling playfully, our hero deadpans that one apocalyptic strike was plenty to realize his insane, overpowered strength. Realizing he accidentally terrified the poor kid, the Dominator nervously laughs. He just wanted to look incredibly cool while fighting desperately for survival, exactly like his immortal partner, flailing his arms. Yoshido hilariously screams that fighting desperately was not a voluntary lifestyle choice. Casually shoving hands in his pockets, the overpowered mentor smirks, promising plenty more chaotic battles ahead. Sighing heavily, our tired hero asks for their next move. The Dominator happily reveals that per Fu's intel, a massive glowing magic stone mine awaits just ahead. Since these precious stones are pure crystallized mana, greedy monsters naturally flock there, absorbing the loot to insanely buff their own power. So that glorious zone guarantees facing ridiculously overpowered beasts. Glancing back, he questions if the rookie understands their hardcore objective. Nodding seriously, our hero summarizes the brutal plan. Hunt the horrific beasts down and completely eradicate them. Offering a classic bro fist, Kagura smirks widely, declaring it is officially time to unleash some absolute chaos. The scene shifts to a cavern glittering with magic stones. Sweaty adventurers swing pickaxes while tired girls chill nearby. Tragically, these clueless extras completely miss the nightmare creature stalking them from the shadows. Fast forward, the Dominator and Takamichi finally hit the 25th floor, stepping straight into the legendary magic stone mine. Catching the starry-eyed wonder on his rookie partner's face, the veteran chuckles, asking if this is his very first time witnessing such a magical jackpot. Whipping his head around like a hyperactive kid, our boy eagerly confirms it. Color signs suddenly flash in his eyes. He remembers that his last tiny magic stone haul paid off literally all his crushing debt. His mind races. If they somehow plunder this entire glittering cave, they could instantly become disgustingly mansion-buying wealthy. Hyped beyond belief, he shouts, "It is mining time." Destroying his dreams, the Dominator awkwardly laughs, explaining that if this cave equaled instant wealth, millions of greedy explorers would already be here. Blinking away his sudden billionaire fantasies, our deflated boy admits the cave is suspiciously empty. Dropping some world-building lore, the veteran explains that tightly packed magic stones actually cannibalize each other, drastically draining their overall magical potency. This tragic nerf occurs because the forming crystals violently fight over the limited surrounding mana. Therefore, these shiny rocks are completely stuffed with useless impurities, rendering their actual market value absolutely hilariously pathetic. Regardless, endless rookie groups farm this trash loot, forcing the fussy guild management to enforce strict environmental protections. Ironically, those boring rules make this zone a total safe space. Just ahead, an energetic girl squeals joyfully with her squad happily hoisting a massive, completely worthless glowing rock. Watching the wholesome moment, our hero softly smiles, thinking their innocent little adventure looks genuinely fun. Watching them brings back memories of his former party. He thought parting ways with the girls left him totally isolated, but this chaotic moment proves he is far from alone. Suddenly, Kagura locks him in a playful chokehold. The tamer smirks teasingly, asking if our hero caught feelings since his eyes are practically glued to those lovely ladies. Mentally groaning at this absolute nuisance of a companion, our protagonist smoothly ducks out of the suffocating grip. He loudly denies harboring any romantic crushes whatsoever. Hearing this, the exasperated tamer mutters that this kid is utterly hopeless. Without missing a beat, Kagura interrogates him about which of his former female teammates actually captured his heart. Meanwhile, miles away, Yuri's instincts sharply tingle. Met with awkward silence, the smug tamer praises both beauties, confidently betting that our hero secretly pines for one of them or perhaps even Foon. Sweating bullets, our panicked protagonist desperately searches for an escape from this cringe-inducing interrogation. Instant battles rage as the tanned warrior senses an ominous shift, though her partner demands absolute focus. Back at the mine, a flustered Takamichi begs the tamer to drop the ridiculous gossip. They came here for hardcore combat training, not a cheesy dating interview. Pointing an accusatory finger, the older man barks at the brat to zip his lips. Nearby, a hardworking miner girl suggests her crew should dig just a little deeper into the cavern. Stumbling upon a glowing cavern filled with massive boulders, the eager group immediately readies their gear. Clang. The short-haired girl winces in pain as her pickaxe bounces off violently, complaining that these mysterious stones possess an unnaturally solid density. While she questions this strange phenomenon, disaster strikes. A colossal monster slowly opens its terrifying eyes, instantly sending alarm bells ringing through our hero's mind. Roaring with ancient fury, the colossal beast unearths itself, leaving the trembling girls paralyzed by its towering, nightmarish silhouette. Wasting zero time, the monstrosity unleashes devastating strikes, using bizarre appendages, sprouting from its skull, scattering deadly magical shrapnel in every possible direction. Tragically, the defenseless mining trio stands directly inside the lethal impact zone of those razor-sharp projectiles. Terrified and outmatched, they can only shield their fragile heads and brace for a brutal, inevitable end. Flash. Yoshido dramatically intercepts the fatal blow, his singing blade flawlessly deflecting the deadly stone barrage just in the nick of time. Glancing back, he ensures the stunned workers survived and urgently orders them to flee. Trembling with overwhelming relief, the girls shout their gratitude. Facing the behemoth alone, our unlucky protagonist sighs. He attempted a smooth rescue, but naturally fate loves completely ruining his perfectly calculated strategies. Lapsing with glowing shrapnel piercing his flesh, he weakly chuckles, deciding that sacrificing his life for innocent strangers is actually a rather noble exit. Still, he dreams of mirroring Okiyomi, the legendary tamer who rescues people with effortless swagger. Meanwhile, the enraged Stone Titan raises a massive foot to deliver the final crush. Facing death's door, Takamichi deeply ponders his ultimate endgame. What happens after he conquers those mystical towers and secures absolute overflowing financial wealth? Earning enough cash to erase worldly anxieties sounds perfect, right? He abruptly realizes his grand master plan still lacks a genuinely satisfying conclusion. However, witnessing the legendary Tamer King fiercely protect him, his squad and Foon sparked a fire. His true destiny is becoming an epic adventurer who executes jaw-dropping miraculous rescues. His absolute cheat skill triggers his 50th miraculous revival. A resurrected hero acknowledges that touching that absolute peak requires vastly more battle experience and refined technique, therefore his brutal grind must continue. Sprinting fearlessly toward the behemoth, he boldly draws its fury, tauntingly asking if the ugly giant wants to share a mutual grave. Burning with resolve, he unleashes his strike. Frustratingly, his blade sparks against an impossibly thick armored shell, proving this fight will be an absolute nightmare. Glancing backwards, our hero frantically searches for the missing Kugura. The scene shifts to the cavern exit, where the tamer swiftly evacuates the civilians. Suddenly, a brave young guard steps up, declaring his knightly honor, forbids him from fleeing. Smiling warmly, the wise tamer acknowledges that slaying that nightmarish beast is technically their official guild duty. However, today requires zero panic, because his incredibly resilient partner has everything completely under control. Hearing this massive gamble, Yoshido stares in absolute disbelief. Boom! The beast violently fires another glowing shrapnel volley, forcing our desperate hero into a dizzying flurry of continuous sword deflections. Sweating intensely, he strategically retreats to evade the deadly crossfire, but immediately halts when Okiyomi's booming voice echoes through the chaotic cavern. Flashing a cocky grin, the veteran questions his baseline intelligence level. Completely outraged, our battered hero screams, demanding to know if this is some twisted joke. Chuckling loudly, the amused tamer clarifies he literally means the system intelligence stat. If his magical stats are sufficiently leveled, a sharp analytical gaze will soon decode the hidden weakness behind this absolute juggernaut's seemingly invincible armor. Waving cheerfully, the veteran completely abandons the battlefield to him. Grip tightening, our highly focused protagonist curses his unbelievably reckless, carefree mentor. The intelligence attribute directly amplifies magical perception, connecting the user to the universal mana flowing through absolutely everything around them. Therefore, boosting this crucial parameter massively unlocks an ever-expanding arsenal of devastating magical abilities. Mentally calculating, he assumes his revival skill granted a minor stat bump, though nowhere near enough for casting spells. Shockingly, a quick glance at his glowing system status screen proves his magical awakening is real. Utterly baffled, our hero questions this impossible system awakening. Then the brutal realization hits. His previous agonizing demise actually triggered an unexpected intelligence boost, transforming that horrific bloody death into a phenomenal tactical advantage. Without hesitation, he forcefully ignites his newfound magical sense. Despite his amateur control, glowing aura pathways suddenly illuminate the Colossus, exposing the monster's hidden energy flows. Yoshito realizes he needs absolute razor-sharp focus. Suddenly it clicks. The beast is cloaking itself in a dense aura, explaining that impenetrable armor. The monster glares at our hero, daring him to strike. Out of nowhere, 3 glowing magic circles materialize above the beast. Is it channeling the mana stones? If that devastating energy drops on him, our boy is totally toast. Boom! A blinding laser beam erupts, blasting our hero backward like a ragdoll. Groaning in the dirt, he realizes seeing its aura is completely useless if his attacks cannot actually pierce it. But wait! Channeling his vision, he spots the armor fluctuating against the ambient mana. There is a fatal weak point. Eyes blazing, Takamichi dashes forward. He plans to tear that beast from its fortress and deliver a crushing blow. Pushing his newfound ability to the limit, he confirms the enemy's barrier is momentarily glitching. He just needs one massive surge of power to shatter that absolute defense. But first things first. He must flood the battlefield with mana by smashing those crystals, The beast retaliates, unleashing a deadly meteor shower. Sprinting for his life, our guy miraculously dodges every strike. Suddenly, a secondary barrage blindsides him. He leaps into the air to avoid being crushed. While running like a pro, he swings his blade with blazing speed, shredding the embedded crystals into absolute dust. Smirking, he figures that did the trick. But wait, the colossal beast has completely vanished from its spot. Crash! The monster dive bombs right behind him, forcing our hero to instantly reactivate his mana control. As 1,000 lethal projectiles swarm him, Takemichi quickly calculates his next wild move. His skill cannot generate mana, it only absorbs the ambient energy. But against this cracked armor, that is more than enough. Blurring like lightning, our main character delivers an earth-shattering slash to the monstrous beast. Seeing only a tiny hairline crack, he clicks his tongue. Time to stop holding back and unleash his ultimate trump card. Taking a deep breath, he mutters time to bloom. His unique skill, Chain Burst Furious, wildly activates, panicking the desperate beast violently lashes out from behind its failing barricade. His strategy, stack a massive 7-hit combo to multiply his damage. Then he will inject raw mana for one apocalyptic finisher. Changing tactics, the monster launches massive boulders. Our hero instantly drops low, bracing for the brutal impact. Grinning, he bides his time. The longer this drags on, the more explosive energy he can violently reflect back. Spooked by his relentless advance, the creature violently rips open its spatial portals once more. Too slow, Yoshido closes the gap in a flash, declaring this final strike will absolutely obliterate it. Fueled by an overwhelming mana surge, his ultimate technique magically evolves into something terrifying. Watching from afar, Kagura chuckles. This crazy kid just completely shattered his highest expectations. With a mighty roar, he strikes to annihilate the core entirely. A spectacular shockwave of blue petals and debris erupts. Crack! The impenetrable fortress shatters cleanly, splitting the monstrous beast right in half. A massive fiery shockwave launches our hero into the sky, slamming him mercilessly into the rocky dirt. Blinking the dust away, he sees the tamer grinning down at him. Smirking back, they share an epic, exhausted thumbs up. Limping away, Takemichi checks on the surviving guild members. Thankfully, everyone is completely safe. They reunite with the girls. Our hero casually waves as Okiomi declares victory. But suddenly, a deafening tremor rocks the earth. Chomp! Out of absolutely nowhere, a gargantuan jaw erupts from the ground and ruthlessly swallows our hero whole. Kagura screams his name in sheer panic. The girls completely freeze in absolute blood-curdling terror. Poof! Our boy instantly respawns, sweating bullets. He dramatically screams, "What in the world is that colossal thing?" Staring down the terrifying steel annihilator, his mind races wondering how this nightmare boss suddenly spawned. It must be a dungeon anomaly. Sweating nervously, our hero tightly grips his sword for round 2. The steel serpent strikes like lightning, but the Dominator's heavy blade deflects the fatal blow. Smirking confidently, the master declares, "Things are getting serious. He refuses to be snake food today." Aura exploding. Okiomi claims the battlefield. Searing demonic flames instantly engulf the steel serpent, blinding its monstrous eyes. Yoshido watches in absolute awe, but a chilling realization suddenly makes his blood run completely cold. Those legendary scorching flames, they are not doing a single drop of damage. The beast lunges forward. Kura shouts that its armor is completely fireproof. Looks like raw, unadulterated brute force is their only option now. Completely fearless, the Dominator charges the Annihilator head-on. The massive serpent snaps its terrifying jaws wide open. But luck isn't on his side. The beast's agility is insane, unleashing a devastating barrage of rapid-fire strikes. Catching his breath, he hears the monstrosity screech. He jumps back smirking as he warns the overgrown snake that he won't be an easy snack. Suddenly, a hidden hatch flips open on the creature's armor. The Dominator freezes in pure confusion. A razor-sharp mechanical claw shoots out from the gap, and wait, it's bringing a whole deadly arsenal with it. Sweating bullets, Okiomi curses. He never expected this oversized reptile to hide literal weapons of mass destruction. The beast locks onto its target and fires every single claw. Caught midair, our guy desperately attempts a dodge. Our main character leaps back into the fray for a counterattack, but the Dominator screams his name. A rogue claw is zeroing in on the kid. Boom! A direct fatal hit, but moments later our guy respawns with a groan. Seriously, that hurt like absolute hell. However, taking that death blow put him right in the monster's blind spot. Aura blazing, he tells the beast to kiss its vision goodbye. He violently sinks his blade deep into its giant eyeball. The monster goes absolutely berserk, sending him flying. He plummets into a terrifying freefall, but just before he splatters, Kagura swoops in for an epic mid-air rescue. Drenched in sweat, the senior profusely apologizes for letting the kid die. But our hero brushes it off. Crushing this steel annihilator is the only thing that matters now. Blinded and raging, the colossal serpent starts tearing the cave apart. Without missing a beat, it locks onto our duo and launches another terrifying full-speed assault. Smash brilliant green energy violently repels the beast as it collides with a protective barrier. Yoshito watches in awe. So this is what happens when monsters breach a safe zone. Shaking off the impact, the serpent recovers insanely fast and glares at our protagonist. What crazy stunt is it planning next? Out of nowhere, the massive titan begins burrowing deep into the earth. Utterly baffled, our guy questions if it's escaping to the lower floors, which makes zero sense, since high-level bosses always guard the upper tiers. Spinning around, he realizes the horrifying truth. If that juggernaut ambushes the rookie adventurers down below, it'll be an absolute massacre. Hura grimly nods. If this annihilator slips right through their fingers, the body count is going to be astronomical. Yoshito rushes to the gaping crater left behind. His worst fears are confirmed. The monster is literally bypassing the dungeon's floor restrictions. The Dominator steps up, explaining the system's strict rules. Usually, safe zones act as an absolute barrier between floors, keeping regular dungeon beasts totally contained. But very rarely a beast possesses such overwhelming godlike power that it completely shatters the dungeon's physics, meaning this annihilator is a total system breaker. Okiyomi clarifies the dark truth. The association slaps these rule-breaking nightmares into a highly classified category for extreme extermination. Eyes wide, our hero asks what this special category is. The veteran's face turns dead serious. They call these anomalies, errors. The sheer weight of that revelation leaves our guy completely speechless. Staring into the dark abyss, the Dominator reveals that error data is strictly classified for elite department-chosen rankers. Their only logical move now is a tactical retreat. Since reporting this disaster to the higher-ups is all they can do, our protagonist reluctantly agrees. They gear up to evacuate. But suddenly, an ear-splitting shriek ruins the dramatic tension. One of the rescued girls is totally freaking out. She literally just watched our guy get brutally murdered. Panic mode activated. Our hero instantly realizes he totally exposed his top-secret respawn cheat to these civilians. Sweating awkwardly, his brain scrambles for an excuse. He drops the most pathetic lie ever. Guys, that was totally just an optical illusion. He assures them he didn't actually bite the dust. Because honestly, spouting absolute nonsense is infinitely better than giving 3 girls lifelong trauma. But one girl steps closer, pointing trembling fingers at the massive blood puddle. She nervously points out that it looks suspiciously like real, literal strawberry juice. Cold sweat dripping down his face. Our guy doubles down. Yup, his illusions are just that ultra-realistic. Surprisingly, the trio buys it instantly. Their eyes sparkle as they scream a synchronized, "Thank you so much for saving us." Completely blindsided by their overwhelming gratitude, he bashfully rubs his neck and says he's just glad they survived. Boom. Critical hit to their hearts. They fall for him even harder. Blushing furiously, the short-haired girl shoots her shot and boldly asks for his digits. Meanwhile, miles away, Yuri senses a terrifying shift in the atmosphere, but an impatient Mana screams that they can't afford to stop now. Back to our accidental harem. King Kura completely shatters the romantic mood. He bluntly announces the evacuation is over. Playing it cool, our protagonist shouts that he's right behind them. Giving the swooning girl a final charming look, he tells her it's time to bounce. Unless, of course, she wants a round 2 with that giant metal snake. Jogging over to the tamer, our boy drops a casual apology for holding up the squad. The Sunbei smirks, praising his epic combat skills and promising a massive reward, but our humble hero declines, claiming he didn't do it for the loot. The veteran just smiles, completely intrigued by this weird rookie. Chuckling, the veteran insists that either way, time to warp back to base. Teleport gates link the magic tower's floors like a fast travel system. Every 5th floor hides a safe zone portal. Hit the milestone, unlock the checkpoint. It's a lifesaver when things go terribly wrong. Takamichi sighs with absolute relief. Talk about insane checkpoint luck. Other poor souls, they're completely trapped if that giant snake decides it's snack time. Kagura totally agrees. They need to rush to management, link up with Fu Yune, and completely wipe this glitch off the map. Back at headquarters, the department boss praises their life-saving intel. Expression dramatically darkens. The lower floors just turned into an absolute bloodbath. The association just slapped an extreme threat label on the steel annihilator. All raids are cancelled. It's full lockdown mode. Surging to her feet, Fu Yune vows to personally crush the beast. The tamer completely agrees, embarrassed they couldn't handle it alone. He practically begs for a spot on the strike team. Feeling totally ignored, our boy watches the boss grab her gear. She playfully tells him to relax. Yoshito's jaw basically drops straight to the floor. Wielding a massive oversized katana, she declares she is leading the charge. Fast forward to the Proteus Tower's 8th floor, and it is absolute, utter chaos. Fu Yune arrives, revealing the nightmare. After fleeing floor 25, the steel annihilator went on a rampage downward. The ground is still rumbling violently. That overgrown worm is super close and it's out for blood. Her fiery aura flares. It won't escape my blade. Sweating bullets, our boy panics. What about the Vanguard? Didn't the recon team just become snake snacks? She chuckles, shaking her head. The Vanguard isn't normal. They're elite glitch hunting specialists. Kagura's eyes sparkle. It is finally happening. He hypes up the legends. Tokyo's ultimate strike force, the infamous Ice Flower team, has entered the chat. Our main character sweat drops at the overly dramatic titles. Suddenly a scout reports in. Area secured. The vibrations are completely insane. That monstrous target is definitely lurking right behind these walls. The scout suddenly calls out our favorite duo. Blinking, our hero gives a clueless, huh. Completely catching him off guard, the elite actually kneels in total respect. This boss-level threat is top-tier disaster. Having the duo join the raid means way fewer body bags. Wait, body bags, Yoshido stammers, totally lost. Kagura smirks proudly. With us here, nobody dies today. Our hero's eyes blaze with pure determination. Nobody dies on my watch. The elite smiles, feeling the hype. Bam, a massive earthquake suddenly launches everyone into the air. Panic mode officially activated. Our boy senses the danger while Fuyun screams it is coming from right below us. Kaboom. The steel annihilator erupts from the stone jaws wide open. Battle formations. Now the team captain furiously roars. The squad charges, anticipating the mid-air ambush. The demonic snake deploys its lethal claws, flexing insane. Reflexes, 2 elites evade the strike, but one realizes too late, a total blind spot attack. Right below, a perfectly synchronized duo launches an epic counter-strike. The Dominator observes closely. That flawless teamwork, that is the Ice Flower's signature style. True boss slayers. But there's a huge catch. This beast is on an entirely different dimension. Their formation will definitely break. Without glancing back, he asks if Yoshido is ready to go wild. Our boy smirks. Born ready. In a massive flash of aura, they blast into the war zone at absolute lightning speed. Okiyomi completely dominates the sky. Below, our boy grounds himself, his eyes burning with absolute fighting fury. Smash. The Dominator delivers a crushing, bone-breaking uppercut. Our hero instantly vanishes, preparing a lethal strike, but a surprise claw forces him back. Enraged, the snake unloads 3 deadly slashes. Flipping midair like an acrobat, he lands perfectly, only to realize that cowardly monster is fully retreating again. Enter Fuyune, my stage now, she fiercely declares. Takamichi stares in absolute disbelief, hanging completely upside down. The department boss aggressively closes the gap, freezing the beast in its tracks. Checkmate, she whispers dangerously. Absolutely insane, our boy mutters. His friend just gulps. It's been ages since she went full demon mode. Turns out our badass adventurer wields insane physical buffs and lightning speed movement via pure magic mastery. Plus, she rocks a totally broken unique skill called Ice Nebula. Totally hyped. The veteran warns our main character to watch closely because this girl moves like absolute lightning. Katana-drawn Fuyune blitzes forward. The steel snake just stares totally bewildered as our elite adventurer breaks into a dead sprint. The massive annihilator cannot even process her godly speed. Our department chief rains down a flurry of ruthless slashes. Sensing an incoming counterattack, she instantly propels herself skyward. Activating Ice Nebula to create breathing room, she dashes again, hovering mid-air to charge up an absolutely devastating fatal blow. The giant beast desperately tries guarding itself. Too slow, Fuyuna's blade shatters its armor, making neon yellow monster juice explode everywhere. Jaw completely dropped, Yoshido asks how she even pulled that off. Kura smirks, explaining her skill supercharges her mana. Thanks to her genius-level magic control, every single strike lands with surgical precision. Falling back, Rita orders the whole squad to prep for the absolute extermination of this first-class error. Drawing his blade, our boy sighs, realizing it is just him and the old man left standing. Raising her katana high, the chief prepares for round 2. But the steel boss goes entirely berserk. It unleashes every single claw, thrashing wildly while unleashing an ear-piercing roar. The Ice Flower captain grunts, realizing they cannot even step into that tornado of blades. The massive serpent rampages endlessly. Sweating Fuyune keeps her eyes glued to the monster frantically, brainstorming her next strategic move. Suddenly, a total idiot just launches past her. Realizing it is Yoshito, she screams in panic, but our guy completely ignores her. Flying through the air, he collides headfirst with a storm of claws, and unsurprisingly gets instantly obliterated. But respawning instantly like a true gamer, he latches straight onto the boss itself. He arrogantly challenges the beast, wondering how long it can fight someone who literally has infinite lives. Internally panicking, our hero realizes he successfully updated his respawn point by grabbing on, but currently lacks an actual battle plan. The Annihilator's eyes glow blood red, screeching it sprints at absurd speeds, leaving our stunned main character desperately begging it to slow down. Mid-air, he screams, that is cheating. His squishy body slams full force into a wall, exploding into comedic strawberry juice. Yet he instantly respawns, hilariously, gliding right through the air. Spotting the human bug, the serpent fires its razor-sharp claws, instantly painting them with another fresh coat of protagonist juice. Respawning for round 3, an annoyed Takamichi curses the oversized worm. Demanding a timeout, he realizes the monster totally ignores him. The enraged annihilator just bulldozes straight toward a massive wall crater, absolutely terrified. Our hero begs the beast to hit the brakes, echoing an agonizing shriek across the tower's upper levels. Dust crumbles from the ceiling above until the roof suddenly caves in, sending our immortal punching bag plummeting straight downward. He bounces across the hard stone floor like a rag doll before finally standing up. Scanning the eerie darkness, he mutters about this creepy location. Squinting at the creepy surroundings, our boy realizes he just crashed directly into the serpent's lair. Halting right before him, the mechanical nightmare preps its assault, launching a barrage of deadly steel claws. Our guy miraculously dodge rolls, letting those blades smash harmlessly into the earth. Sweating bullets, he admits, fighting this boss solo is absolute suicide. He desperately needs his overpowered squadmates to deliver the heavy damage. Moving like lightning, the beast instantly closes the gap, forcing our frantic hero into a desperate defensive leap. Glancing backward, he spots his glorious escape route. Landing safely, he activates his ultimate secret technique, running away. 3 deadly blades shoot toward his back, heavily complicating his grand escape. Yet a terrified Yoshito sprints even faster. Eyes locked on the exit, he flashes a cocky grin, praising the oversized worm's intense game of tag. Time for some pro-gamer jukes. Sliding smoothly beneath the incoming blades, our cheeky protagonist dives into the hole, shouting a dramatic "catch you later." Despite its absolute mechanical fury, the raging beast completely fails to stop his slippery escape. Back on floor 8, the squad waits anxiously. Suddenly, Fuyune blinks, spotting our legendary bait boy returning, looking completely drained. He groans about surviving that nightmare. A stressed Kura scolds him for causing heart attacks, but our boy chuckles, apologizing and dropping some massive plot progression. The chief demands answers instantly. Grinning, our battered hero reveals he just discovered the snake's secret nesting ground directly upstairs, meaning if the entire party coordinates an ambush up there, they can finally end this miserable boss raid. Fuyune strokes her chin intrigued before asking if our guy happened to spot any mysteriously glowing stones inside. Our main character nods. The nest is completely glittering, with strange, colorful stones, totally different from the boring mining zone. Fu's eyes light up. Suddenly, the entire puzzle pieces together. She drops a massive bombshell. During their clash, the Ice Flower Guild scanned that metallic monstrosity, realizing it feeds on pure energy. The tower is full of trash-tier mana stones. But here, this place is an absolute goldmine of ultra-pure crystals. Our boy literally stumbled right into a completely undiscovered hidden zone. The chief smirks. Since those juicy mana crystals are only inside its lair, that overgrown lizard isn't going anywhere. Danger or not, they have to speed run this raid, but suddenly the chief freezes dead in her tracks. Confused, our hero tilts his head. She dramatically turns, declaring he has to be their tour guide. Yoshito finally peeks into the boss room, catching the giant snake, making a derpy O-face with its mouth. He watches the beast slurp up energy like a smoothie. Suddenly, a trembling hand grips the ledge behind him. It's the team leader, panting and sweating buckets like he just ran a marathon. He gasps, amazed that Yoshito casually strolled up that nightmare cliff. Out of nowhere, Rito and Kura simply pop out too. They emerge without breaking a single sweat, leaving the leader completely flabbergasted. Stepping up, the chief announces that playtime is over. Time to unleash everything. The entire squad dashes forward in a frenzy, ready to blast that boss back to the tutorial. The steel annihilator instantly spots the intruders and unleashes a totally deafening roar. Okiyomi flexes hard. As a legendary king tamer, he absolutely refuses to back down from this metallic worm. He prepares his ultimate strike to send it flying. Feeling his killing intent, the beast aggressively snaps its massive jaws. But Okiyomi doesn't even flinch. His flaming sword slashes down, leaving a massive sizzling crack right across the monster's armor. The strike launches the heavy beast sky high. It crashes into the cave wall with a deafening boom, making Takamichi grin like crazy. Plot twist. The giant snake shakes off the dust, now completely enraged and glowing with absolute fury. It violently slithers out of the crater. Sweating bullets, Okiyomi stammers that his ultimate attack barely gave it a scratch. Zero hesitation. The annihilator shoots a deadly claw barrage straight at them. Reflexes kick into overdrive as the squad scrambles. Absolute panic breaks out with terrified adventurers screaming for their lives. Fu desperately blocks the hits. Staring at the monster, they quickly realize this nightmare boss battle just started. 2 arrogant mob characters block the claws, bragging that they squash mechanical bugs for breakfast. They actually think they are safe. Our main character screams for them to look up, but their death flags are already triggered. Splat, a massive shower of censored strawberry juice rains down, leaving the tamer and chief completely horrified. Another side character shrieks his fallen friends' names. Looking up in shock, he sees a fatal claw dropping and simply accepts his doom. Swoosh. Our main character instantly blinks in deflecting the lethal blow just in time. He orders him to focus his aura. There's plenty of time to cry over spilled strawberry juice after they survive. Because dead men cannot attend funerals. Staring at his crushed buddies, the guy aggressively wipes his tears, vowing to make it out alive. Kura barely backflips away from danger. Standing by Yoshido, he grunts that the boss has cheat-level speed, demanding a new strategy immediately. Fu's aura explodes. She activates her Ice Nebula skill straight into extreme expansion mode. She sprints forward, summoning massive glaciers with every single footstep. She bites her lip, regretting her weakness. Startled, our hero stares as the chief's hair suddenly turns a blinding, magical white. Her power awakened, Rito declares it is game over. Infuriated, the steel annihilator unhinges its jaws and launches its lethal hooks. But Fu is totally fearless. She charges head-on, dancing around the mechanical onslaught like an absolute ice queen. Suddenly, a massive metallic claw stops mere inches from her beautiful face. But it is just a bait. She perfectly sidesteps, drawing her katana to cleanly slice the monster's arm right off. A storm of metal claws chases her. She parkours across the cavern walls, proving this ice-cold chief is totally untouchable in combat. Eyes glowing an ethereal blue, her blade blurs. She chops multiple claws simultaneously, making the beast screech in pure agony. Totally cornered, the annihilator panics, whipping around to devour Rito in one gigantic bite. But she dodges flawlessly, making it smash into a boulder. Smirking, the badass boss lady promises to claim its head. Channeling Absolute Zero, her katana instantly grows into a colossal ice blade. The terrified snake finally realizes its boss bar is hitting zero. Plunging down, Fuyune executes her ultimate strike. But wait. The snake's blue eye suddenly flares viciously, jerking its head away. She completely misses the target. Her strike only obliterates the wall, triggering a massive shockwave across the battlefield. While the chief calculates her next move, the massive serpent strikes. Its tail ruthlessly slams into her back, launching her through the air. She violently crashes into the debris. Watching this disaster unfold, Yoshido starts sweating bullets. Meanwhile, the chief's enchanted katana remains hopelessly wedged in the dirt. Our guy analyzes the situation. His basic blade is totally useless against that monstrous steel armor. But wait, if he snatches up Rito's magic-infused weapon, this whole game might completely change. Giant beast suddenly snaps its head around. Sensing a new threat approaching, it instantly flares its aura for round 2. Sweating buckets, our hero takes a deep breath. As the terrifying beast charges forward, he casually offers himself up as an all-you-can-eat buffet. Splat. His precious strawberry juice explodes absolutely everywhere. Popping back to life and snatching the chief's katana, he smirks. That snack will cost the monster dearly. He might lack her insane speed, but one flawless, overpowered strike is all he needs. To pull off this insane stunt, our protagonist cheerfully decides to die once more. Spawning in again, he sighs. He usually hates this painful strategy, but this specific death exploit allows him to teleport straight into the giant serpent's blind spot. His devastating first strike violently smashes the ironclad beast. Eyes burning with sheer determination, Takamichi ruthlessly delivers the ultimate critical hit, right behind its massive skull. Just like that, the titanic monster crumbles to dust. The entire party drops their jaws in utter shock, including the battered Fu Yun. Landing smoothly, our hero totally flexes his crazy skills. Dusting herself off the stunned chief's glowing hair, completely fades back to black. Facing away, she softly expresses her gratitude. Thanks to his absolute madness, her fallen comrades finally have their rightful vengeance. Our humble guy bows, offering his continued support. Suddenly, a glowing blue system window brightly pops up, stealing his focus. Reading the shiny prompt, he discovers that Metal Snake was actually the hidden boss of Proteus's domain. Scratching his head, he asks what the heck that means. The chief gasps in sudden realization. She previously assumed this dungeon had zero special gimmicks, but this insane twist proves she was totally dead wrong. Reviewing the combat reports in her head, she remembers facing weird beasts that could magically swap out their entire limbs on the fly, alongside sneaky creatures, perfectly camouflaged as literal rocks, plus tons of other bizarre mutations. The ultimate puzzle piece finally clicks. Every single monster in this cursed place completely fakes their actual appearance, meaning that giant steel snake randomly roaming the halls was actually the Grandmaster of Disguise all along. Staring blankly at the fading monster dust, Yoshito asks if they really just accidentally assassinated the main boss. She nods firmly. Usually, big bosses never ever abandon their top-floor thrones, so this random encounter was basically a one-in-a-million glitch. Our hero chuckles, realizing he accidentally stole the final kill. Raising an eyebrow, the chief asks if he hates getting the glorious spotlight. Rubbing his neck awkwardly, he admits the truth. Without her insane power plus the entire Ice Flower Guild's help, he would have permanently bitten the dust. Despite his cool heroic speech, earlier real lives were lost today. This harsh reality check proves he desperately needs to level up. The majestic dungeon instantly dissolves into thin air. Cut to the guild's shiny front desk where our guy casually dumps his epic loot right onto Rio's lap. Blinking in utter confusion, she asks if that legendary drop came from the boss. He casually nods before shamelessly unloading an absolute mountain of glittering magic stones. Staring at the ridiculous hoard, she jokes that this flex is basically harassment. Sweating, he nervously defends himself. Conquering that dungeon was a massive team effort, so hoarding all this shiny treasure would make him a total jerk. Therefore, he officially donates the whole jackpot to the guild's treasury, fully backed by Kagura's blessing. He demands Fuyune use it to fund struggling rookies. Leaving the office with good karma, they immediately bump into a super serious Rito in the hallway. Striding forward, the young guildmaster admits he was actually waiting here just to ambush them. He desperately needs a massive favor. Dropping the small talk completely, he reminds the duo about the giant elephant in the room. The apocalyptic raid on the demonic tower of Zeus kicks off soon, and his squad is forced onto the terrifying front lines. Naturally, he is leading the suicidal charge again. But after that last disastrous bloodbath, he absolutely refuses to lose another precious teammate. Shocking. Our hero Rito desperately begs for a training arc. Fast forward one grueling month since that epic steel snake battle. Inside the department's private dojo, the poor Ice Flower leader is currently sweating buckets and gasping for air. Flaring his blazing aura, he recklessly dashes forward. He launches a wild strike at Kagura, who effortlessly parries the massive blow. A brutal sparring match instantly erupts. Steel clashes violently as relentless blocks echo across the entire training room. Refusing to quit, the dark-haired warrior fiercely launches another highly determined attack. Glancing backwards, the overpowered master senses Yoshito attempting a sneaky ambush. Yawning, he casually raises his heavy blade, easily blocking the young man's desperate sneak attack. The resulting shockwave blasts both challengers straight into the air. Yet despite soaring backward, our stubborn protagonist absolutely refuses to drop his trusty sword. The other young man mirrors the pose, hands on his hips. The Dominator sighs, calling them way too naive. Time to crank this hellish training up a notch. Flashback to 1 month ago, the exact moment our black-haired rookie practically begged the duo for a masterclass. Scratching his head, our main character awkwardly admits he is still just a student. Suddenly, Proteus steps in, aggressively grabbing the guy's shoulder. Utterly desperate, Rito begs to tag along and join their brutal training sessions. Flustered, the protagonist agrees. He laughs nervously, trying to peel the overly excited adventurer off. Okiyomi smirks. If that is the case, he will personally train them both before the massive Zeus raid officially begins. Snapping back to reality, Yoshito groans. They have spent 30 agonizing days grinding in the Magic Tower's exclusive training room, but spamming his system status is no longer enough to pull off high-level combat arts. Despite his massive level-ups, he is still absolute trash compared to the almighty Dominator. Drenched in sweat, he screams that this dude is a total cheat code. Dodging a lethal strike, he recklessly charges forward. Kura notes that the kid and Fuyune still hard-carried the last boss fight, meaning elemental compatibility between players and monsters is totally a thing. So if these two scrubs can just max out their stats, they can tank hits despite terrible elemental matchups. Barely dodging death, our boy realizes that even with him and Rito attacking at max power, they still have not landed a single scratch. Just what are this monster's base stats? The protagonist desperately rolls away from the strike. Suddenly, the Ice Flower Guildmaster roars his name. Catching the signal, the dynamic duo launches a perfectly synced multi-directional pincer attack. But Okiyomi drops his friendly act, instantly popping his ultimate skill. He declares he will completely incinerate the entire zone. The protagonist's soul leaves his body. They are screwed. An apocalyptic hellfire explosion violently erupts. Slumped against the charred wall, the crispy duo accepts total defeat. Glancing back, Okiyomi casually praises their newly upgraded teamwork. Staggering to his feet, Takamichi spits that teamwork means absolute zero if they still get one-shotted. The Dominator chuckles. Winning was never the objective. The real goal is flawlessly channeling their combined aura into the Magic Tower. Rito groans that getting utterly crushed still hurts his pride. Laughing it off, Kura demands more push-ups before they finally log out. Wait a second, a glowing system alert catches our hero's eye, making him frantically yell. Staring at the massive display, the man smirks. It is finally time. The Ice Flower captain clenches his fist, swearing a dramatic oath to protect his guildmates. Fast forward a few days, we are live at the official drafting grounds for the epic Zeus raid operation. The examiner loudly announces the preliminary skill tests. All applicants must form raid parties to try and survive against him and Fu. Rule drop complete. The glasses-wearing proctor calls the very first batch of fresh meat to the arena. Sizing them up, the department head smirks, noting Yoshito's high praise. Time to see if these rookies are actually worth the massive hype. Wasting zero time, Yuri and Mana strike epic battle stances. Scene change to the legendary Zeus Magic Tower, specifically the hellish 60th floor, where Okiyomi and Yoshido are chilling. The massive raid has officially begun. All drafted players are locked and loaded. Our boy whistles blown away by the epic turnout of elite players. The Dominator breaks down the raid mechanics. It is a classic MMO setup, vanguard tanks on the front lines, while support classes camp in the safe zones. Scanning the massive staging area, the protagonist scratches his head, wondering where Rido is hiding. The man casually drops the lore. The entire Ice Flower Guild has been assigned as the primary support squadron, meaning they won't see that loudmouth until they clear a few more boss rooms. The kid laughs, swearing they absolutely cannot die before then. The Dominator snorts, saying that is a totally massive death flag. The two idiots immediately burst into uncontrollable laughter. But from across the room, some random extra complains, completely baffled by their total lack of raid anxiety. The angry rookie screams at the veterans, barking that if they are just going to meme around, they should instantly log out, slowly turning their heads. Yoshido and Kura unleash terrifying boss-level death glares. The poor kid's soul instantly leaves his trembling body. Our boy's dark aura vanishes into a goofy chuckle. Walking over, the duo playfully taps him, telling the poor noob to chill out, because from this point forward, ready or not, every single player here is getting violently tossed into a brutal, unforgiving meat grinder. Wartime Zeus is an absolute titan of a magic tower, boasting over 150 grueling floors, and so far, only 59 have been cleared. The brutal wipeouts on floor 60 practically forced the Hunter Association to launch this massive cooperative raid. The protagonist rubs his chin, trying to guess what kind of monster caused such a bloodbath. Sweating buckets, he complains the dungeon feels like a literal oven. Lurking nearby, the raid leader drops the bomb. The second we step into the inferno zone, our health starts melting away. Group healing is our only lifeline here. If our support players bite the dust, yeah, it is an instant game over. Clapping his hands like a strict teacher, the leader demands absolute focus. Solo acts are banned. Survival means sticking together like glue. The strategy is simple. The healers spam their magic, and the frontline acts as their absolute meat shields. Sweat drops down our boy's face. Thanks to his overpowered reversal skill, an area that damages others might actually heal him. That is a cheat code he is desperately keeping secret. Main character or not, he hates drawing unwanted dungeon aggro. Scanning the blazing hellscape, Yoshido realizes this extreme heat acts exactly like a continuous debuff, just like Daphne's nasty curse. Right on cue, a translucent system screen flashes. Warning: extreme heatwave detected, continuous health drain has been successfully initiated, but our protagonist just smirks. His legendary reversal skill completely flips the script. Who even needs a support healer anymore? Striding forward, he casually lies to the tamer. I have maxed out heat resistance, guys. I will scout ahead and clear the path. The entire party drops their jaws, watching this madman casually stroll into an oven. Well, nothing we can do about his suicide mission. Sprinting into the flames, Yoshito sighs. He went completely overboard, but he has to maintain his cool lone wolf act. Bam! Out of nowhere, a brutal strike catches him off guard. He faceplants into the dirt, coughing up a ridiculous fountain of blood. Before his screen goes dark, he realizes he walked right into an ambush. Popping his revive, he grumbles at the cheating mobs. Seeing their prey somehow back from the dead, the freaks ready their blades. They swarm him instantly, daggers glinting in the fiery light. Clang, our main character draws his blade just in time to parry. The demonic mosquitoes are forced to jump back from the impact. Flashing a cocky grin, he tightens his grip. I grinded like crazy for a whole month. In a straight-up brawl, I am untouchable. Lunging forward, our boy swings for the fence's swish, but the tricky bugs just teleport completely out of his reach. Squinting through the smoke, Takamichi spots glowing wings. Wait, are those angels? Great, now I have to solo a squad of holy hitmen. Angels crawling out of a demonic hellscape. Yeah, that is a huge red flag. Whatever time to smash them anyway. Closing the gap with lightning speed, the kid unleashes rapid defensive strikes to keep the deadly swarm away. Whoosh! One psycho pulls out a totally new weapon. Yoshido bends backward Matrix style just to keep his head attached to his neck. Glaring at the winged freak, he laughs. A month ago, that cheap shot would have ended my run, but I leveled up, buddy. These guys do not even flinch. Our boy grits his teeth. Typical high-level dungeon mobs, they are built like absolute brick walls. Swoosh. A sneak attack dagger aims right for his eye. He violently deflects it, realizing exactly why they call these guys Hell Angels. The mob squad suddenly turns tail and flees. He rushes blindly after them until he realizes, wait, this is a classic baiting tactic. Surrounded by blazing flames, he skids to an absolute halt. Where did those winged cowards vanish to? Dead silence. Not a single buzz echoes in the fiery cavern. Yoshido instantly reads the massive red flags waving. Death from above. The monsters drop from the ceiling, His eyes go wide in absolute pure shock. Gripping his hilt, he leaps backward like a frightened cat. Boom! Their combined strike completely annihilates the floor where he just stood. But wait. Glowing yellow crystals rain down on him. His brain registers the word bomb right as the timer hits 0. Kaboom! The blast sends him flying across the room. Tumbling gracefully, our boy curses. Who brings explosive magic stones to a sword fight? Before he can even complain, another explosion erupts. He shrieks as he gets ragdolled through the air, completely failing to stick the landing. Seeing their target grounded, the sweaty angels go completely unhinged. They start carpet bombing the entire zone like absolute maniacs. Is this some kind of twisted joke? He groans right before a colossal screen-shaking mushroom cloud hits him dead on. Wasted. Sent straight back to the spawn screen. Popping his second revive, he glares. Stop spamming items, you arrogant little bugs. Smack. He lands a devastating heavy blow, but one freak dive bombs into the dirt just to protect its ally. The rest unleash a storm of daggers, but our protagonist dances through the blades, smoothly sliding past yet another cheap explosion. I downloaded your attack patterns now. Without hesitating, his blade flashes, landing a brutal, critical killing blow. Sneak attack. Another holy pest spawns behind him. He spins like a top, unleashing a massive counterattack that blasts the freak into next week. A wicked grin spreads across our boy's face. Rushing in, he decides it is finally time to give them a taste of their own explosive medicine. He violently drives his blade into the creature, scattering live bomb stones everywhere. The trembling angel raises its arm in pure, unadulterated terror, but Takamichi already threw himself away. The clueless monster gets instantly swallowed by its own massive fiery explosion. Watching from a completely safe distance, our boy dusts himself off, suddenly noticing nasty scorch marks fading directly from his arm. Whoa, his light burns are healing instantly. The extreme heat is triggering his reversal skill. Ding, a window chimes. The explosive heat source has been severely decreased. The searing heat's continuous area of effect damage finally dropped. Staring at the glowing rocks, our hero connects the dots to this blazing hellscape. The mana stones are totally clumped together. Smashing them into dust will instantly cancel this sauna of doom. Dashing forward, our boy executes his master plan, triggering a massive screen-shaking explosion. Meanwhile, in the safe zone, panic ensues. One noisy scrub screams his health bar is tanking, demanding emergency heals immediately. Trembling, a pink-haired cleric raises her staff, flashing a party-wide restorative buff. But that massive mana drain leaves her completely breathless. Cue the annoying dude yelling again. Actually demands she stop resting and spam more heals. Luckily, someone finally grabs this jerk's shoulder. Leaning in menacingly, Kagura asks if he's treating their only lifeline like a literal slave. He knows they're in deep trouble because these monsters are dealing absolutely brutal critical hits. Everyone's vitality is bleeding out from status effects, and morale is crashing straight into the abyss. Suddenly, glowing red eyes stalk the poor cleric. A blood-curdling scream drops the tamer's jaw. The party freaks out. Their healer just went down. Another girl rushes in with emergency first aid, but a greedy hand forcefully yanks her back. It's Mr. Annoying again. He ruthlessly tells her to abandon the cleric and prioritize his own health bar instead. But wait, a deadly shadow drops from the ceiling. A literal hell angel targets the greedy duo. Boom. The tamer swoops in and cleanly vaporizes the threat. Unfortunately, that demon brought its whole squad. A massive monster wave breaches their defense line. Utter chaos erupts as terrified players scatter and scream. The tamer curses, knowing the raid group's stamina is tapped out. A total party wipe is imminent. Out of nowhere, Yoshido casually strolls in, bragging that blowing up those explosive rocks was pure genius. The tamer completely lights up, shouting our hero's name with massive relief. But the obnoxious guy instantly mocks him, whining that a reckless, useless player will only trigger more aggro. Our boy just flashes a smug grin. Useless. He literally just nuked every single heat source on the map. 3, 2, 1. The suffocating environmental debuff magically vanishes into thin air. Kagura laughs, realizing this crazy madman solo cleared the hazard zone just for fun. He truly is a walking highlight reel. Turning with epic swagger, our hero hits the toxic scrub with, "Who's useless now?" Gritting his teeth, the toxic guy mutters a pathetic thank you. The tamer smiles, knowing this epic carry just restored everyone's fighting spirit. The dynamic duo shares an epic celebratory fist bump. Turns out this fiery debuff plagued floors 61 through 64, but Takamichi literally speedran the whole hazard layout. Thanks to his insane solo carry, the frontline took 0 casualties, allowing the raid party to breeze through. Deep in the dungeon's fiery abyss, a sinister hell angel yanks a heavy demonic chain. The ground shatters violently. A monstrous 3-headed serpent-dragon hybrid bursts from the magma, roaring into the darkness. Back with the raid group, Okiyomi excitedly declares they've officially breached floor 65. Our boy's eyes instantly lock onto something glowing. A fast-travel teleportal just came online. The tamer nods, hyping up how much grinding time this shiny new waypoint will save them. Before hunting for more loot, the exhausted squad desperately needs to camp in the safe zone. Gasping for air, the toxic scrub questions their infinite stamina. Our hero secretly credits the tamer's brutal, hellish training montage. Playing it cool, he casually mentions his recent extreme workouts, offering to scout ahead, while the weaklings recover their HP. Before the complainer can whine again, our protagonist swiftly cuts him off. He smirks, revealing their combat power just spiked. The legendary Iceflower Guild has finally arrived for backup. Rudo casually steps into view, grinning about their perfect timing. He flexes that his squad completely wiped the remaining mobs, while their rearguard is busy farming all the leftover loot drops. Smirking at our hero, Rudo brags about his dramatic entrance. Our main guy just chuckles, truly grateful for the massive assist. With the tension finally shattered, the party resumes exploring. Kagura happily notes this floor doesn't feel like a literal oven anymore. Spinning around with an optimistic grin, Yoshido asks if this means the dungeon just got easier, but the Ice Flower leader shatters that hope. In his veteran experience, the real nightmare is just beginning. This tower loves throwing curveballs. Mid-boss rooms are literally everywhere. It would be a total nightmare if our boy Zeus wasn't an absolute unit. Seeing the main character shift into a battle stance, Rito blinks in sheer confusion. Our guy smirks, warning him to actually protect his squad this time. The rookie tilts his head, wondering why the sudden warning. Well, he figures it out real fast. Welcome to the boss room, kid. Pushing the heavy doors open, the raid party steps inside. Staring into the pitch-black void, our hero sighs. Seriously, the system never cuts them a single ounce of slack. Boom. Glowing crimson eyes snap open. A massive three-headed monstrosity reveals who truly rules this floor. Meet the Annihilator Hydra. The raid leader screams for everyone to draw their weapons. If they hesitate now, this overgrown lizard dictates the entire battle. The furious beast charges forward, each terrifying head snapping in a totally different direction. Squinting, our guy wonders why this boss is wearing heavy chains. Something feels incredibly sketchy. He sharply warns Rito to stay absolutely frosty. Moving fast, the squad manages to pin down the three snapping heads, violently yanking the beast back by its own heavy chains. The black-haired fighter exhales, thinking they clutched it. But spoiler alert, the colossal monster suddenly twitches back to life. Disgusting new heads burst out instantly, jaws snapping wide open. Our hero clicks his tongue. Infinite regeneration. Now that the chains are shattered, this raid boss is completely unhinged. Raising a massive razor-sharp claw, the beast targets Rito for its very first snack. Sweating bullets, Takemichi screams his name, but the target just flashes a confident grin. They survived the exact same hellish training after all. Deflecting the brutal strike, the beast hunts for new prey. Meanwhile, the Ice Flower leader boldly declares he refuses to die today. Fangs bared and giant claws raised high, the enraged hydra shifts its murderous gaze toward the squishy backline. But the captain dashes in like a total badass, completely blocking its path. Nobody on his watch is kicking the bucket. This overgrown lizard completely missed the memo. Every single hunter here survived absolute hell to reach this floor. Lethal energy suddenly violently swirls inside the beast's jaws, but the squad easily sidesteps the explosive blast. Hanging in midair, Ryudo brags that his guild carries 0 dead weight. The 4 warriors launch a beautifully synchronized assault, driving their glowing blades into one single, vulnerable weak spot. Watching from the sidelines, Yoshido whistles. Their battle choreography has seriously leveled up. Right beside him, Kura totally agrees. He smirks, realizing the vanguard holds their own. Time for them to join this raid and farm some epic damage. Sprinting forward, the main character notices a crucial glitch. The chopped heads regenerate, but body wounds stay open. This means slashing the neck is a total trap. The beast tamer shakes his head. That monster is built like a tank. Surface scratches won't even tickle its massive health bar, let alone deal fatal damage. First, they absolutely must decode its insane healing factor, and the only way to test that theory is by chopping off another ugly head. Swinging his massive greatsword, the veteran hunter finally grasps the strategy. He desperately screams at our hero to cast magic analysis right now. Our boy instantly obeys, firing up his system skill. His eyes widen. The freshly severed stump is practically overflowing with a massive magical current. He shouts the answer. A hidden mana core powers every single neck. That is the annoying cheat code behind its infinite healing. That leaves only one totally chaotic option. Charging forward alongside his partner, our hero grins. It is time to shatter those cores into dust. Taking damage, the enraged hydra unleashes a furious roar. It forcefully flaps its monstrous wings, whipping up a devastating hurricane. Blinding winds force Takemichi to cover his eyes. The party watches the colossal beast take flight, suddenly vomiting down a terrifying barrage of explosive energy spheres. Amidst this absolute chaos, our guy and the beast tamer violently dodge to avoid getting instantly vaporized. Out of nowhere, a flying chain fragment almost takes our hero's head off. Squinting closely, he spots a glowing magical seal etched. His teammate yells, asking what is wrong. Spinning around, the main character points out that strange glowing collar. Hura spots the arcane runes too. He bets those exact seals are restricting the monster's true elemental attacks. Frowning, Yoshido points out a terrifying detail. Why does one single collar glow an ominous crimson? And why is that red seal leaking such an overwhelmingly oppressive magical aura? Our hero quickly connects the dots. One specific head is overwhelmingly stronger than the rest. Wait, that means there is a hidden trump card that hasn't even struck yet. Exactly. The menacing middle head. If that bloody red seal belongs to the center head, this dungeon raid just shifted to extreme difficulty. Staring at the airborne monstrosity, panic sets in. It is charging up a massive ultimate strike, and it is definitely coming from that untouched middle head. A colossal meteor of fire plummets toward the squad. Smashing the ground, it explodes into a devastating shockwave of crackling black lightning. Okiyomi screams for an immediate tactical evade. Trusting his desperate call, the entire party violently leaps skyward. Sweating, our hero realizes the deadly voltage is flooding the entire boss room. There is literally zero safe zone. Suddenly, Ryu screams in absolute terror. The dark energy is not dissipating. The second their boots touch the floor, the whole party gets blasted by excruciating high-voltage agony. Sweating bullets, our hero finally cracks the monster's twisted scheme. Meanwhile, the seasoned tamer tanks the electric blast without even flinching. But the moment our boy's boots hit the dirt, total chaos. Unlike the tough veteran, he screams his lungs out. The pain is agonizing, but wait, he's still breathing. If this pathetic zap couldn't finish him, the squad must be completely safe. He turns around, expecting smiles. Reality check. They are totally frozen, utterly bewildered. Takemichi begs to know what just went wrong. A glowing system prompt flashes. Warning: paralysis status inflicted. Affected targets are now essentially living statues stripped of all mobility. Yet his overpowered inversion skill totally negates the trap. Glancing at the paralyzed tamer, our hero realizes this battle just derailed entirely. The ultimate nightmare. He must solo this colossal hydra. Without missing a single beat, the multi-headed abomination locks its deadly gaze onto him. Massive energy spheres blast forward. Sprinting for his life, our hero desperately scrambles for a winning strategy. If he can't execute this beast quickly, it will simply bombard his defenseless friends. A single sweeping strike would instantly wipe out the entire party. Distracted by pure panic, he totally misses the monster's blinding approach. Bam! A massive wing bats him across the room, smashing him brutally into solid rock. Talk about a jinx! The absolute worst-case scenario unfolds right before his eyes. But our protagonist fiercely vows to stop this slaughter. A lethal sphere of raging aura hurtles directly toward his helpless, paralyzed comrades. He heroically throws himself into the blast, instantly resurrecting near a snarling hydra head. He is ruthlessly smashed back down before taking a single breath. Death. And an instant revival for Yoshido. Glowing crimson eyes lock onto him again. Facing another barrage, he realizes blocking two furious heads simultaneously is completely impossible. Out of nowhere, Mana charges in, claiming the right flank. Meanwhile, Yuri positions herself perfectly to intercept the beast's left side. The legendary counterattack begins. Shocked, our hero glances back. The fierce, dark-haired warrior ignites her battle aura, confidently declaring that she will totally handle this mess. Flexing her newly awakened strength, Sakia rockets into the sky like a devastating human tornado. Closing the gap, twin blades sing as they leave their scabbards. Her predatory gaze firmly locks onto the beast's thick neck. A flawless flurry of slashes shreds the target. Reeling from the brutal combo, the flailing monster wildly misfires its blast straight into the dungeon ceiling. But our hero's sharp instincts scream danger. Another deadly orb charges up. Knowing he cannot block this one, despair creeps in until Shuramachi fiercely shouts that she will completely crush this incoming strike. Handling her shiny new staff, a massive torrent of water erupts. The elemental collision detonates, painting the battlefield in breathtaking shades of dazzling azure. The explosive backlash incinerates the monster, brutally reducing the terrifying hydra down to just two pathetic heads. Strutting closer, the triumphant duo playfully asks Takemichi if he is utterly blown away by their epic power-up. Still confused, our stunned protagonist asks why they returned. The cheerful blonde reveals they practically begged the assault squad for permission to follow him. Smirking, she promises they refuse to be useless, dead weight, ever again. Nostalgia hits him like a truck. Memories of their old party days and their tearful dramatic departure flood his mind in vivid flashback panels. They genuinely kept their sacred promise to return. A proud grin breaks across his face as he warmly acknowledges their awe-inspiring, magnificent growth. Now this legendary trio must absolutely decimate the remaining Hydra heads, combining their ultimate tactical knowledge. He drops the crucial boss mechanics. To permanently halt that pesky regeneration, they absolutely must shatter the beast's hidden magical core. Step 1. Yuri fires up her mana radar to pinpoint the target. Barely a moment passes before she confidently calls out the exact coordinates. Our hero declares they must blast straight through the core. He quickly asks if she can unleash that kind of magical firepower. Overflowing with confidence, she tells him to watch and learn, juggling her detection skill while supercharging her glowing staff. Shiramachi violently unleashes her ultimate spell. The blinding strike rockets directly toward the beast's exposed neck, entirely bypassing its sluggish defenses. A gaping void appears right where the core pulsed. Pumping his fist, Yoshido excitedly shouts that the annoying healing factor is officially cancelled. Sensing its imminent doom, the desperate abomination violently beats its wings, soaring into the air. Loudly warns of another paralysis trap. They absolutely must launch a ruthless counteroffensive before the beast fully completes its spell. Our hero and Mana sprint ferociously toward the beast. Pouring every ounce of their aura, they seamlessly synchronize for a devastating combo attack. Splitting up to flank the beast, their clever bait forces the frustrated monster to hurl its blast directly at our frontlining hero. On the ground, the fierce brunette screams out, mid-air. Our hero curses the Hydra's surprising intelligence. Realizing this cunning freak, sneakily dual-casted another terrifying spell. Smirking, Shiramachi fiercely declares her spell speed is vastly superior. Bam! Another magical core shatters into glittering dust. Howling in absolute agony, the colossal beast finally loses its strength and crashes heavily into the dirt. But this nightmare isn't over. In a desperate final struggle, it spits one last lethal energy orb directly toward the defenseless mage. Her eyes widen in pure terror as her comrades scream. Suddenly, Rid dynamically swoops into frame, casually boasting that he literally just snapped out of his paralysis status. He braced for the devastating impact, but at least this time his precious comrades would survive the blast. Panic struck the main character. He screamed out, desperately begging him to stop. The ice captain merely smiled. "This is my choice," he whispered before taking the hit head-on. The entire squad watched completely paralyzed in shock. As his body was violently blasted away, it seemed the epic explosion had completely erased Ritojo from existence. He crashed brutally against the far wall. As the chaotic smoke finally cleared, his battered and bloody body was shockingly revealed to everyone. 2 cores destroyed. The Hydra shrieked in absolute agony as Yoshito furiously cursed the monstrous beast. Out of nowhere, Kagura miraculously emerged. Using his bloody blade as a crutch, he stubbornly refused to hit the ground. Drenched in cold sweat, he offered the main character a truly desperate apology. The ice squad was slowly rising. Our hero realized Ritojo's insane sacrifice had actually bought them the vital time they desperately needed. "I am taking its head," he roared at the tamer, asking for backup. Okiyomi confidently hoisted his blade and smirked. "You do not even need to ask me twice." The heroic duo charged forward like lightning, meeting the monstrous gaze entirely head-on. The terrifying Hydra roared, charging up a massive energy sphere to obliterate the approaching threat, but Yuri was way faster. Her powerful magic perfectly intercepted the deadly blast, keeping her sharp eyes locked on the chaotic battlefield. The desperate beast frantically flapped its wings to escape, but suddenly Mana dropped straight from the sky, absolutely determined to finish this bloody war. Aura, exploding the fierce girl, delivered a devastating strike to its torso, before stylishly flipping away to gain distance. With that epic attack, the colossal Hydra finally crashed into the dirt. Now it was Kagura's time to shine. In one swift motion, he brutally severed another head, but the cursed flesh immediately began regenerating. "Not on my watch," Yoshito roared in pure fury. He channeled everything into one absolutely final monster-slaying strike. His glowing blade pierced the final core. Gritting his teeth, he viciously shoved the steel even deeper. Meanwhile, far away, a mysterious blonde woman felt the exact moment her precious servant was brutally slaughtered. "Who dared do this?" she hissed. Back on the battlefield, the devastated crew gathered around Ritojo's limp body. As our weeping hero cried out, Ritojo suddenly peeked one eye open. "Stop making that ugly crying face," he grumbled. He had totally accepted a heroic death. Miraculously, he survived. He just needed healing to rejoin the fight. Hearing this hilarious plot twist, the main character completely bawled like a baby. But wait, the ice captain suddenly stopped breathing again, sending our poor boy right back into sheer utter panic. Miles away, the eerie woman sensed an overwhelming aura. Infinite resurrection. Reaching toward the heavens, she smiled wickedly. "I will finally see him again." And that wraps up our epic video. Drop a like if you love the chaos. Catch you next time.